Good evening and welcome to the final event in this first inaugural season for the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship, and tonight a very special broadcast. My name is Daryl Morley. Alongside me is my broadcast partner Nim Cross. We'll be joined by several guests in just a little bit. Nim, tonight it all comes down to it. 2 drivers, 1 championship, $10,000 on the line. And more importantly, perhaps for these drivers, the bragging rights of being able to say they were the first ever NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Champion.
That's right. Tonight's a very exciting night where we crown our championship. Everybody is looking into this race, and we do crown our champion tonight. We're all very excited about it.
Looking forward to tonight's broadcast, and tonight we settle the score. Towler versus Davies, and it's not one of those, geez, Towler doesn't like Davies or Davies doesn't like Towler. These drivers get along just fine. They have mutual respect for each other. But let's face facts here, Nim. They're going for a championship. Each one of these drivers wants this championship bad, and they've done it 2 different ways. Richard Towler has been hot and cold, to say the least. Brad Davies has been consistent. Not set the world on fire, but he's been very, very consistent. Almost a Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch approach, so to speak, with obviously Matt Kenseth being the Brad Davies approach and Kyle Busch being similar to the approach of a Richard Towler. Towler with 4 wins, dominated for quite some time, but Brad Davies, only the 2 wins, but a heck of a lot more top 10s.
Yeah, Davies is always right there fighting, as you know. Towler always seems to be out front also, but the whole season has come down between those 2 drivers. And you know, there are a number of other drivers that mixed in there, but these 2 drivers have been the most consistent throughout the season, and these 2 guys are the ones that are going to be fighting for tonight's championship. Should be very exciting.
Well, we've been talking about this championship all season long. With us tonight, we have 2 very special guests. We'll get started with the first of our special guests. It's the president of iRacing, Tony Gardner. Tony, thank you very much for taking some time out of your extremely busy schedule. I know you're looking forward to this race, but we want to thank you for taking some time to just kind of hang out with us a little bit here on PSR TV and chat up a little bit about iRacing and the future of iRacing with us here on PSR TV.
Thanks, Daryl. It's really exciting to be here. I actually watch every race, so it's nice to actually join you guys on these terrific broadcasts that you guys do.
Well, obviously the first question to people out there that are watching for the first time, as this is the biggest event in the series history, those that don't know what iRacing is all about, how would you quantify what iRacing is for someone that just really has no clue, kind of saw the post somewhere on Facebook or throughout YouTube or somewhere about the broadcast coming up? How would you explain what iRacing is?
Well, very, very quickly, iRacing, you know, our vision is iRacing is internet racing. That's the name. And, you know, our vision was always to recreate what happens in the real world, all the way up from somebody starting as a rookie, as an amateur driver, and going all the way up to the pinnacle of pro sports, and that's what this series is. So these guys all earn their way up, racing head-to-head for over a year to get to this point into the best 50 drivers in the world. And tonight we'll find out, by definition, who the best, you know, oval driver in the world is, and it's all been sanctioned by NASCAR. And I want to thank NASCAR for making this all happen. It's really been a culmination of 6 or 7 years of a dream for all of us in iRacing to have this legitimate internet sport.
Well, you mentioned that it's internet racing. Why sim racing? I mean, there's other venues that you could have gone as a business, as a company, as a gaming company. Why not go first-person shooters? Why not go, simulation-style games? Why not do Facebook-style games? Why sim racing? What was the decision to lead to the creation of iRacing and the decision to go into sim racing specifically?
Well, very simply, I mean, most of the employees, most of the people at iRacing, including our owner John Henry, who owns a NASCAR team, we just have a passion for racing. So we're all racers at heart. Number one, and number two, this I think racing more than anything else transitions to a simulation just about better than anything I can think of. So again, it was a sport. We were interested in sporting, competition, and a love of racing, and sim racing was a perfect fit for this band of characters that got together to build iRacing.
You mentioned the band of characters that got together to build iRacing, and a lot of them right now kind of sitting, waiting and watching, getting ready for this final event in the inaugural season of this championship series. How big is this event and this series for iRacing as a company?
Well, it's huge. I mean, I remember our business plan 5 years ago, and this was at the very top, to have this centralized service. The sim racing community was so scattered. To have this centralized service where we could bring all the best racers in the world all together under one roof in one series and compete and figure out who's the best. And we just thought that this would be the crown. This is the crown jewel of iRacing, this series. So, and to have NASCAR involved, it makes it all that much more special.
Hey Tony, talk to us about NASCAR's involvement in iRacing and how it goes beyond the Series World Championship.
Yeah, it really, NASCAR's just not involved in this series. It's a whole racing ladder, just like the real world, and it really starts, with we have over 20 different series, and 7 of them are devoted to NASCAR, and it really starts with a late model car, and you come into iRacing as a rookie in a late model car. It's actually a Legends car, and then starting at we call it the rookie level, and then you go to a D level. That's a late model car. You go up to the C level, which is the NASCAR truck series, up to the nationwide car, into the Cup car, all the way at the A level, and then you go to a pro license, which is the feeder series for this series, and then if you're one of the best 50 drivers in the world, you make it to this World Championship series, and the whole thing we built with NASCAR. Nick Rend, who's going to join us in a few minutes. We worked on this for 2 years. This whole ladder system, this whole sporting code around this, and so it's been a lot of fun building this with NASCAR. We're really excited about it. But anyway, the whole point is that if you're brand new to sim racing, you start, there's something here for you, or if you're one of the best drivers in the world, there's something here for you.
Well, you mentioned some of the best drivers in the world, and of course, when you talk about ovals, you're talking about NASCAR, and we have with us one of the senior members of NASCAR's licensing department, Mr. Nick Rend. And Nick, you've heard what Tony's had to say. From NASCAR's perspective, why iRacing? Why now? Why is sim racing, and more specifically iRacing, so important to NASCAR?
Well, I'll tell you, it goes way back on the NASCAR side to a vision that Bill France Jr. had in the mid-'90s. And Bill foresaw a day when NASCAR fans could experience NASCAR side-by-side racing from the comfort of their own homes. And that day has come, and tonight we're ready to crown the first ever champion in NASCAR-iRacing.com series. And, when you look around in the internet community and to the different areas that people are racing sims, there's nobody that does it better. We have a relationship with Dave Kemmer that goes back to the Papyrus days, and we've kind of kept in touch with him. And, we had the opportunity to develop and collaborate on this series, like Tony said, a number of years ago. We got started, and we're really pleased to be here tonight doing this. It's really, really great.
Well, we've talked about the $10,000 prize that's on the line, but we were informed earlier on that there's more than that. The champion here will be recognized as a NASCAR champion, and there's a lot of little neat benefits that go with that. What are some of the additional prizes that these drivers are racing for tonight in order to try to get this championship?
Well, I'll tell you what, this first champion is going to have a special place in NASCAR, and everybody that's watching should be reminded that they're really witnessing history tonight. This is a real series, this is real racing, and we're going to crown a real champion tonight. In addition to all of those bragging rights, the $10,000 that you mentioned, Jostens is actually going to make a championship ring. For those of you that don't know, Jostens makes all the championship rings in NASCAR. They produce a number of the trophies, and along with that, we're going to provide a great experience at Homestead Miami Speedway later this year, where you get to hang out with yours truly, meet some other executives from NASCAR, and be recognized as the inaugural series champion.
Nick, talk to us about the future vision and of the involvement of NASCAR in iRacing.
Well, for those of you that race and those of you that maybe not race, that are maybe joining us for the first night, you should know first and foremost that this is really a quality product, and these guys put their heart and soul into innovating it constantly. So they probably don't want me to hear me say this, but I can guarantee you that Dave Kemmer's wheels are going to be turning after this series shuts off tonight, and we're going to be thinking of ways that we can continue to innovate from a rules perspective and both from a racing options, environments, and physics model perspective. So hopefully I didn't sign the team up for too much when I mentioned that. But in addition to just increasing the overall quality of the service and the product, looking at the rules, making changes where necessary, we're also going to look to develop a license program, a real-world license program, where these guys can join the NASCAR racing family. When every driver comes to the track, whether they're in the Sprint Cup Series or the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, they have a license that gets them into the track. They have to go to the garage to sign in. These guys will have the same opportunity to get into the track and join NASCAR, in the real world as well. The broadcasts that you guys do are amazing. They've really come a long way, and if Bill could see what we're doing today, I'm sure this would fit right in the pocket of what he envisioned this series to be. So I think what we'd like to do is try to figure out how we can take this to the next level, increase the audience, increase the viewership, get more people engaged in this product, get more people excited about the ability to become a NASCAR iRacing.com series champion from the comfort of their own home. But in NASCAR, it takes partners to get to where you need to get to, and sponsorship's a big part of that. And we've received a lot of different inquiries about sponsorship of the service, and really this year, myself, Tony, Blake Davidson, some other folks on the iRacing side, we really decided to focus on the product, getting the service launched, and going from there. So you can bet that we're going to be looking for partners to help us take this to the next level, and we think by taking it to the next level, we'll be able to grow the broadcast base, the audience size, and also increase the rewards for these participants.
I want to thank Tony and Nick, and hopefully you guys can stick around. We'll get to talk to you a little bit during the race if we have a break in the action. I know you guys are going to be watching this race, as tonight the championship is decided. $10,000 on the line. That's what's on the line for the drivers. For everybody else involved, there's a whole lot on the line as well. You heard Nick talk about Mr. France's dream, Mr. France's vision. Tonight, the championship is handed down in a series that these folks believe to be the embodiment, the epitome of Mr. France's vision. You heard Tony talk about how important this series is in the involvement with NASCAR. One of these drivers will be crowned as the first ever simulated racing NASCAR champion. And it's not, a form of this, a form of that. This is a NASCAR championship and all the accolades that go with it, along with, oh yeah, the $10,000. That is all coming your way right here on PSR TV on the other side of this break. Don't you dare go away. It's the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship, and it's the finale, and it's coming at you next on PSR TV.
iRacing.com is the premier online racing simulation featuring head-to-head competition on your PC. Race from your home PC, competing on the world's best real-world cars and tracks. Thousands of race fans and scores of pro racers like Dale Jr. and Justin Wilson are already racing at iRacing. Experience the thrill of victory yourself and go racing today at iRacing.com.
Over 50 of the best sim racers in the world went to battle for the first ever NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. And what a show we've seen. We saw the icon Dale Earnhardt Jr. log the Week 1 win, and we've seen two different paths to a title. Richard Towler has been hot and cold. 4 wins put him in the points lead before bad luck dropped him down. Brad Davies only has 2 wins, but his consistent finishes have put him in the #1 spot. Towler and Davies will meet one more time with everything on the line. Don't miss the final race for the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship on PSR TV. Welcome back here on PSR TV. Hopefully you're as ready, hopefully you're as excited as we are. Nim, tonight we get to help award one of these drivers, one of 2 people, more than likely, $10,000. NASCAR accolades, bragging rights, and a trip to Homestead Miami Speedway to watch the final event for the Cup Series, and that really cool ring, all courtesy of being a NASCAR champion and a bona fide, recognized NASCAR champion as well.
Yeah, that's right. A very exciting night tonight where, we crown our champion. And as Nick said earlier tonight, this champion will receive, and he will be the inaugural champion of this NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. And so he will be seen as the first one, and he will be making history tonight. And we are making history tonight, and this is a very exciting night for this race.
Well, one of the things that these drivers have to be very well aware of, obviously, it comes down to where you finish, but where you finish may have quite a bit to do with where you start. And if that's the case, Richard Towler is in very, very good position. He will start on the pole in this one. His main competitor, as far as the championship goes, he will start all the way back in 8th position. Let's not forget, bonus points make a difference in a championship. Coming into tonight, Richard Towler trails by 1 single solitary point under Brad Davies. That could be wiped away on lap 1.
That's right. The track is difficult. Very hard track. Charlotte Motor Speedway is one of those tracks where you can find yourself in trouble. And with Brad starting back there in the 8th position, it's narrow, it's very fast, and anything can happen. You don't want to be starting that far back, and here Brad's got a little bit of a challenge already early on.
Well, he certainly does have a challenge early on as the drivers come to the grid and we get set to go racing. The other thing to keep in mind, the top 30 from points for the first season will be invited back for season number 2. And yes, you heard me right, season number 2. They're going to do it again. We'll talk about that a little bit throughout tonight's race, but tonight is all about the hunt for a championship and the way that 2 very different drivers, have made their way towards this first ever NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. Here now is your starting grid for tonight's race from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Richard Towler, the number 7 machine tonight, will start from the pole outside of row number 1, the number 24 of Josh Parker. Row number 2 on the inside, we find the 11 of Derek Wood. Outside of him, the ever-present Ray Alfala. He'll be in the 5 tonight. Jason Anderson rolls the number 27 machine inside of row 3. Outside that 3rd row, the Pink Warrior, the number 16 for Connor McKenzie. Row number 4 on the inside, the number 4 machine of Tyler Hudson, and on the outside, longtime racing buddy of Tyler, and we say buddy with a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek, Brad Davies. Davies in the number 2 machine comes in as the points leader tonight. Thomas Lewandowski, 3rd place in points, will start 9th in the number 13. Jesse Atchison will round out the top 10 starters in the number 1 machine. Jason Burstein and Brian Schoenberg make up row number 6. Row 7, Theo Olson and Brian Blackford, who celebrates, by the way, a birthday with us here tonight. Stephen Gilbert and John Gorlinski make up row 8. Row 9, Byron Daly and John Adams. Row number 10 on the inside is Chris Main. On the outside, Dion Vergers. Florian Goddard, the video genius, will start inside of row number 11. Outside row number 11, Sandeep Banerjee, all the way from India. Jim Moore and Patrick Fogel, Richie Davidovich, John Prather, Matt Santel, Vinny Sansone, and a whole host of others round out this field. We'll get to them when we can. Right now, green flag. We are underway, and immediately Richard Towler, RT, jumps out to a commanding lead, heading their way the first time down into turns 1 and 2. Battle for the second spot as Derek Wood pulls up onto the inside. Side by side is Wood and Josh Parker. Parker with the advantage on the high side, able to keep those RPMs up, and will take possession of spot number 2. Richard Towler out to a half a second advantage on that initial start. Towler continues to lead this one. Josh Parker sits in second. Derek Wood is third. Ray Alfala is fourth. Fifth spot is Jason Anderson. Where is Brad Davies? He's made up 1 spot from his starting position. Davies right now sits in the 7th position. Richard Towler has just taken command of the points lead, a spot that he had for quite some time all season long by virtue of 4 wins. But the bottom all but fell out for RT about the midpoint of the season, and he's been struggling to get back ever since. Richard Towler right now the unofficial points leader. One of the things you wanted to point out to a lot of our viewers, you're seeing a lot more pink on the cars than you're used to seeing. A lot of these drivers running special paint schemes. McKenzie's been running, as you're watching Connor McKenzie, he's been in a pink car all season long as he jumps to the inside of the number 27 machine of Jason Anderson with the pink numbers for Anderson in the 27. The reason a lot of these drivers are running all this extra pink on their cars is for breast cancer awareness. They are joining the breast cancer awareness cause, and it's nice to see the sim racing community yet again step up and reach out to the rest of the world. And so many times we see it all over sim racing. Sim racers prove to be some of our best citizens, and they're doing it here again. Always nice. Richard Towler checking out from this field with a little bit more pink on the number 7 R&B sponsored ride than he usually has. Every single one of these cars, for those of you new to sim racing and new to the iRacing world, every single one of these cars, Chevrolet Impala SS. Every one of these cars, identical in make, identical in model, identical with motors. It is as close competition as you can get. Brad Davies starting to work his way through this field just a little bit. Davies has worked his way up past Tyler Hudson, sets his sights on Connor McKenzie as Jason Anderson struggles just a little bit as Anderson drops back several positions. That's going to put Brad Davies up in spot number 5. Now let's not forget, we also do have 2 drops to consider throughout the course of this season. These drivers able to drop their lowest 2-point totals. Without the drops coming in, Brad Davies was your points leader by 1 point. With the drops coming in, it was Richard Towler by some 40-some-odd points. Richard Towler extending that lead. However, anything can happen. And again, we've mentioned it comes down to a 2-driver race for this championship, but there are a full field of racers on this racetrack. 37 drivers taking the green flag, well in excess of 70 drivers have taken the green throughout the course of this season. Well in excess of 70 different drivers have taken the green throughout the course of this racing season. Richard Towler now out to over a 1-second lead over Derek Wood, and You got to believe this is the perfect situation for Richard Towler. Come in, qualify on the pole, and dominate from the immediate drop of the green flag, and that's exactly what Richard Towler has done. Nobody has really been able to lay any pressure on Richard Towler as the European racer continues to lay down near perfect laps. Well over 190 miles an hour, he heads into turn number 1. Last lap for Richard Towler, 29.358 seconds as we are working the 10th lap here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The 10th lap of the scheduled 167 lap distance. It's Towler, Wood, Parker, Alfala, and McKenzie, your top 5, followed by Davies, Hudson, Lewandowski, Olsen, and Jason Anderson to round out the top 10. So Brad Davies up in the 6th position. He still has a lot of work to do, but Brad Davies is a very, very patient man. He's not going to take a chance in the early going. He knows he still has 157 laps with which to get the job done. 10 laps complete, lap 11 now up on the board as we work the 11th lap of this 167 lap race. With 157 laps left to go, all Tyler has to do is just slowly run his race. Be that methodical, or Brad Davies rather, be that methodical Brad Davies that does what he knows is best. It comes down to preparation, and nobody, and I mean nobody, prepares more than a driver like a Brad Davies, a driver like a Richard Towler, but they have prepared differently throughout the course of this season. Richard Towler has prepared to dominate, and he has done so on the nights that his car has been able to do so. However, Brad Davies prepares for every potential situation. As you see Brad Davies involved in a 3-car battle. That is the battle for the 5th position as the 5-car taps the wall. That's Ray Alfala. That's going to slow the Floridian down just a little bit. Oh, Davies up in the outside wall. Brad Davies, the number 2 machine, has hit the outside wall, gets it gathered back up, but that's going to hurt Brad Davies. If Richard Towler has any clue that Davies is experiencing any difficulties, Richard Towler is going to be ecstatic. And I can't blame Richard Towler for being ecstatic, and you've got to wonder exactly how much information Richard Towler has as we catch a quick replay of Brad Davies getting up into the outside wall. Looks like he just sort of overdrove it into the corners, slid up, and made contact with the outside wall. Not a huge amount of damage, but enough damage potentially to concern Brad Davies about some internal damage. Did he damage the suspension? Did he do any other damage to that number 2 machine? As you ride in car with Brad Davies in that number 2 machine, it has become a handful. Towler continues to lead this 1 second spot. Derek Wood 1.2 seconds back. Almost 1.3 seconds back is Derek Wood. Richard Towler doing what Richard Towler has done all season long, and that is just come out and make this race his own. Fantastic action out here thus far as these drivers kind of settle in just a little bit and try to get some laps under their belt. They want to get a nice long green flag run. They get a nice long green flag run in here, and that's where you start to separate the top drivers, the upper echelon drivers, from the drivers that are used to these sprint-style racing. Rejoined by Nim Cross, and Nim, so far so good, green flag, and if you're Richard Towler or a Richard Towler fan, this thing's looking mighty good.
Yeah, these guys look like they're just trying to settle into the race, which they're doing a very nice job. Now here on lap number 17, Richard Towler has a 1.3 second lead, and looks like these guys are just settling in as the 36 car gets a little bit loose up there in 1 and 2. but everybody's just trying to take it easy, and I think they're starting to realize what kind of race they're in now, and they realize who's watching, and they realize a number of people watching. They're just trying not to be the guy that makes that mistake. So Davies up to sixth. Davies up to the 6th position now, so he's gained 2 spots and doing well.
These drivers racing for a championship with no drops calculated. Brad Davies led by 1 point with 1 recorded drop. Richard Towler leads by 34 points with 2 recorded drops, assuming the 2 worst were dropped. Richard Towler led coming in by 43 points. Towler wins if he finishes 5th or better without leading a lap. Not a problem here. 6th or better, leading at least 1 lap. And now that he's done that, if he leads the most, he can still win the championship regardless of what Brad Davies does if he finishes in 8th place or better. Brad Davies winning the championship is a little bit more complicated. Here's a couple of the scenarios that Brad needs to grab. Brad needs to gain 44 points over Richard Towler, assuming that the worst drops have already occurred. To win, top 6 positions will give you 5 points each. 7th through 11th give you 4. 11th through 32nd give you 3, and so on down the line. Richard Towler has every single tiebreaker already wrapped up. Brad will win if he finishes 15 positions or better ahead of Richard Towler. That's not including any bonus points. If Brad wins the race and leads the most laps, if Richard finishes 6th or worse without bonus points, Davies wins the championship. Towler's already got bonus points. Now, here's the one that could come into play. If he wins the race and Richard Towler finishes 7th or worse, really you're kind of looking for Towler to finish 8th or 9th, Brad Davies could win this championship. And before you say, Richard Towler's not going to finish this 167-lap race outside of the top 7. Come on now, be serious. Richard Towler's had a few races so far this season that he has finished outside of the top 10. Bad luck can happen. Anything can take you out of the hunt for a championship. And these drivers right now more concerned with taking themselves out than putting themselves in position to win a title now.
Yeah, one thing you got to realize, we're at, for Richard right now, it's the easiest part of the race. He qualified on pole, and he's out running up front, and right now he's got it pretty easy. But pretty soon pit stops are going to happen, yellow flags are going to happen, all this stuff is going to play in the part, and that's going to make it a problem. Right now we got trouble in turn 4. Tyler Hudson hit Josh Parker and crashed him up in turn 4.
Parker into the outside wall. Damage for Parker as more cars slide in late in this incident. Tough break for the number 24 of Parker. As we'll get a look at it, it looked like Hudson just didn't have time to react or drove into the back bumper of the number 24 of Josh Parker, the Xlander designed 3unit.ca sponsored ride for Josh Parker. Tough break, but Nim, there's that caution we were talking about. We said they were coming. It's here. This is exactly what I was talking about. Now, Richard's got to make a pit stop, and he's got to be right on, and his pit crew's got to be very good to get in and get back out in the lead. Any kind of hesitation, some guy takes 2 tires, anything that happens out of the ordinary now, that puts Richard Towler back, and that throws everything out of whack for him, and this is where everything plays out, and that's why we run the race, and that's why all these different scenarios take part, and it's not easy, and that's why Richard Towler right now is at the top of the championship, because he's very good at all this kind of stuff, but we'll see what happens. Coming down pit road, your race leaders coming on to pit road. Looks like Brian Schoenberg has stayed out. He wants some bonus points. Towler comes to a stop and comes to the attention of his crew. He needs an all but perfect pit stop in order to win the race off from pit road and continue to maintain track position over Brad Davies. Davies not known for making mistakes on pit road. Towler will win the battle off from pit road, beating Derek Wood to the line at the end of pit road. It's going to be Towler coming off, followed by Derek Wood, Tyler Hudson, Connor McKenzie, Theo Olson, Ray Alfalo, Lewandowski, and then Brad Davies in the number 2 machine. So Davies, not quite the stop he would like to have had. Ray Alfalo gets out ahead of him.
Yeah, Richard almost got beat off of pit road there. Derek Wood was right there with him, kind of spun the tires a little bit coming up pit road. But, these are the scenarios. We'll see if anybody decides to stay out. There are a couple of cars in front of these guys now, but they'll probably be making their way down pit road as they pick up a couple of bonus points here just for trying to lead a lap while we're under this caution period. Richard Tyler's able to stay out front, and we are lap number 26, so far so good.
Well, here's some information, a little bit of history for you out there watching on PSR TV. This is not the first time that Josh Parker and Tyler Hudson have met bumper to bumper on a racetrack. They have been involved in incidents before. As a matter of fact, they've been involved with one another in an incident earlier on this week, and it was an incident that a lot of people believe that Tyler Hudson feels that Josh Parker took him out. You got to wonder, perhaps not trying as hard to stay off the 24 as he normally would based on past events. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Let's not forget, revenge does happen on the racetrack, and it's a dish best served, apparently, in a broadcasted event. We're going to see if we can't hook up booth-to-car communications with Ray Alfala, driver of the number 5 machine, the Floridian and the longtime sim racing veteran. Alfala has looked strong all season long, right now sitting 8th in points, as we're going to see if we can hook up with him next time, as Alfala in the number 5 machine, the iLeagueRace.com sponsored ride. As the lights go out, we get set to go back to green flag racing. Richard Towler, once again, your race leader. Right now we have 26 laps in the books. We will have the 27th lap in the books here at Charlotte Motor Speedway when we go green flag racing. Green flag flies. We are underway, and another huge start for Richard Towler. He breaks out to yet again a half a second lead.
Yeah, Tyler gets a big start right now, while Tyler Hudson works his way underneath of Derek Wood, moves his way up in the second position as they work their way onto the back straightaway.
Towler came in as the leader, came out as the leader. Brad Davies came in 6th, came out in the 8th position. As it looks like we are wowing them back down. Yellow flag flies yet again as the 18 machine of Darren Stevens had some help going around and got a tour of Charlotte Motor Speedway, the rapid tour of Charlotte Motor Speedway, where you get to look at all 4 corners in about 5 seconds, Nim.
Yeah, that's right. Looks like the 22 car of John Prather slid up the track a little bit and got into the side of Darren Stevens in the middle of corner number 1, 2. A number of other drivers did get a piece of this as they tried to miss the wreck and weren't able to.
So Richard Towler continues to lead under the second yellow flag of tonight's event, the final event in this championship series. We do believe we have booth-to-car communications established with the sim racing veteran, the Floridian Ray Alfala. Ray, out there on the number 5 machine, oddly enough, in 5th position. You getting us loud and clear, buddy?
Yeah.
Fantastic. How's the race feeling so far? Obviously, this racetrack, not the easiest facility to drive around, but it's a racetrack that you've got several laps here at.
Yeah, I started the race with a pretty crazy setup, and my friends told me I'd be in the wall after lap 10, and they were right. So just really loose there that first run, and I tightened it up a bunch here on this latest pit stop, and the crew helped a lot. So I don't know, we'll see. It was really loose that first run. When I let those guys go on the bottom and I went into the turn on the high side, the car just, the rear just stepped out and I hit the wall a little bit, but I don't think the car is too damaged. So we'll see, long way to go still.
How concerning is it for you as a sim racer and as one of the competitors to be out there with drivers that you respect and have respect for you, that 2 of them are racing for $10,000 tonight? Are you more aware of where they are on the racetrack and trying to give them a little bit of extra room tonight?
Yeah, definitely. You know, the only thing I can control is just to make sure I don't wreck either of the two of them. But you know, but I still have to race, you know, because if I help one, then I hurt the other, and if I help the other, I hurt. I mean, you know, so I can just race and try to be clean, and that's pretty much all I can control.
Basically trying to treat Brad Davies and Richard Towler as if they were any other racer on any other night. Any inclination to kind of lean a little bit towards Brad Davies? A lot of history between you and Davies.
No, I mean, like I said, it's no, you know, I don't play favorites. We're out here racing, and I'm just going to try to be clean.
What if we can get Davies to cut you in on the check? I'm kidding. We wouldn't do that. Ray, I want to wish you the best of luck here tonight, bud. It's been a long season. It's been a fantastic season, and looks like you're going to guarantee yourself, with a finish in the top 30 in points, an invitation to the second ever NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. So, Ray, obviously, we're looking forward to more of Ray Alfalla in the very near future here on PSR TV, bud. Best of luck tonight.
Thank you.
That's Ray Alfalla, driver of the number 5 machine, coming to us all the way from Florida as the iLeagueRace.com sponsored machine, one of the drivers that races here within the continental United States, but we have drivers and we have people watching from all over this planet. This is the first ever truly global NASCAR series. We have had drivers from other countries in a NASCAR series, but Nick Rend, I hope you're still with us, bud. Have we ever had a driver in a NASCAR series from India?
I don't believe we've had. I'd have to double check the stat books, but I think it's a pretty safe assumption that we have not had a winner from India.
So there you go. We do have a driver in tonight's race, racing from India. Well over 100 countries have taken part in these broadcasts and watched the broadcasts, and it's really neat to be able to reach out globally with this product and with sim racing and having NASCAR on board. And Nick, if we can go back to you again here before we go green just real quick. Thus far this season, what are your thoughts on what you've seen so far? I know that this is sort of a technology that maybe not a lot of people were all that well aware of before iRacing came into the mainstream.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I really didn't know, I didn't really think the season could get any better than that first race when we had the virtual Daytona 500 and Dale Jr. won there right under caution, and you know, I've been proven wrong. The series has been great. These guys from all over the world are out there working hard every other week, trying to crank out victories, and you know, to be 34 points away from each other going into this last race, that's really a sign of how competitive this series is, how closely these guys are matched, and it really is attributed to their hard work and level of talent that you won't see anywhere else in any other sim racing community.
Thank you very much, Nick. We'll talk with Nick a little bit more later on as the green flag flies. We get back underway and head towards turns 1 and 2. And again, Richard Towler, another great restart, Nim.
Yeah, Towler's out front, but Derek Wood and Ray Alfalla, that inside line, the first 3 cars on that inside line, were able to get by Tyler Hudson. So that moves the guy we were just talking to, Ray Alfalla, up into the 3rd position.
Ray Alfalla having a nice run after that restart. Perhaps we gave him the PSR TV bump and kind of helped him move up a few positions. If that's the case, Brad Davies has got to be screaming, me next, me next. Come on, you got to talk to me next. Richard Towler continues to lead this one, but Brad Davies starting to make some more progress towards the front. Davies down to the inside of Connor McKenzie. McKenzie up on the high side, Davies on the inside. Davies up to 6th.
Yeah, Davies making his move around Connor McKenzie. McKenzie, one of those guys who runs up front all season long. He doesn't have some of the finishes that he wants, as we see Brad Davies hanging it out through 1 and 2 right there. McKenzie maybe having some problems throughout the season, but he's always up front, and he's always running well. And now it looks like Brad Davies moved his way up into the top 5, making his way for that championship fight.
Brad Davies trying to put himself in position as he gets a good look at the back bumper of Theo Olson's number 9. Davies still very loose in that number 2, the Whiskey River sponsored Chevrolet. Davies not showing any sign of letting up. This is a very important night for Brad Davies. The difference, I mean, let's face facts here, Nim. The difference is $8,000. He doesn't win the title. Or no, the difference is $7,000. I apologize. He doesn't win the title. He's going to win $3,000. If he wins the championship, it's $10,000. A $7,000 swing. That's big.
Yeah, you got to remember, these are guys at home racing on their PCs. Now, to a person, like you and me, where we race on our PCs, that's a lot of money to me, and I'm sure it's a lot of money to you. These are regular guys at home. Towler from England, and I'm not sure exactly where Davies is from the south somewhere, but these guys are sitting there at their computers racing for $10,000 for first place, $3,000 for second place, and $1,000 for the third place position. That's a lot of money for a couple of guys that are sitting in their living rooms or in their dens racing.
Brad Davies, by the way, coming to us from the great state of Florida, just like Ray Alfalla is. Both of these drivers are Floridians. Right now, the number 9 machine of Theo Olson driving Brad Davies nuts. Davies just wants Olson to get out of the way so he can continue to move that Whiskey River Chevrolet towards the front. Olson running hard, not giving him any additional quarter. And really, let's be honest, Brad Davies wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah, sure, Theo Olson could move out of the way. Ray Alfalla could move out of the way. Derek Wood could move out of the way. But that's not how Brad Davies wants it. If Davies wins this championship, he wants to flat out earn it, Nim.
These guys are race car drivers in the purest sense. Every one of these drivers on the track want to win this race. It doesn't matter if they're fighting for the championship or not. They want to win this race. If you're not in the battle for this championship, you want to win the race at Lowe's Motor Speedway, the final race of the 2010 season, and you want to be able to show everybody who is watching this race that you are capable of winning and you are capable of being here for next season's championship if you're not involved in this one. So these guys are race car drivers, and they are out there right now putting on the line, trying to get this championship or get this win for tonight's race.
Charlotte Motor Speedway, the site for this 167 laps, a double wiggle, one for Olson, one for Davies. Neither driver able to build up any ground, but both drivers lose ground to Derek Wood, and to Ray Alfalla, as Brad Davies up in the top 5. Normally that's a darn good night, but that's not going to get it done here tonight. And here's the thing, as Theo Olson scrapes the outside wall, entering turn number 1, Nim, for a guy like Davies, who jumps down to the inside of Theo Olson down the backstretch, and Davies picks up the 4th spot, sets his sights on fellow Floridian Ray Alfalla. How much of an off is this for Brad Davies to have to change his mindset? Brad Davies will normally settle for 3rd if that's all the car is capable of. He can't do that tonight.
Yeah, this is it. This is the last race, and this is where you got to go for it all. There's no more holding back. You got to be smart in this race. You definitely want to pick and choose where you want to make your runs. Now Davies looking to challenge Ray Alfalla here as we go into corner number 3. Davies looks like he's making his run to the front, and it looks like we got trouble up in turn 3.
Trouble on the racetrack. The number 24 machine involved in this one, as looks like we're still hammered down out here on the racetrack, but the 4 and the 24 have yet again met up on the racetrack, as the 24 and the 4 machine, it looked like the 4 was going to the high side and the 24 chased him up the racetrack. Absolutely intentional, and it looks like now these two drivers are flirting with disaster. Gentlemen, be reminded, there are eyes a-watching.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that kind of thing here, especially, all these, any races on the surface are, sanctioned, and they are officiated, and you know, protests can happen, and this type of behavior will certainly be taken care, you know, is certainly addressed. So anytime there is retaliation or anything like that, you'll get that kind of thing. But you know, we got bigger things on the table today. Brad Davies making his way to the front. He's back up to third position.
Now here's a danger for the drivers involved in this championship. If this doesn't get resolved soon between the 24 machine of Josh Parker and the 4 of Tyler Hudson, they stand a chance of getting involved in an incident that they have nothing to do with. Hopefully these drivers are well aware of that, and the one retaliation was all that was looked for, as Josh Parker came in 6th in points. He's going to leave significantly lower in points, already a lap down in the Excellent Designs 3unit.ca sponsored ride, as Parker will pull it down to the infield, and it looks like Parker may be parking it for the night.
Battle for third right now. Brad Davies is catching and right up to Derek Wood. Davies was more than a second back on your race leader. He's now cut that lead down to 0.8 of a second.
Let's not forget, top 3 drivers in the overall point standings will get a monetary payout. Thomas Lewandowski trying to hold on to 3rd place in points, as he has an 80-point lead over Josh Berry, all but locked in to that 3rd position. A $1,000 paycheck for finishing 3rd in the series. Granted, it's not the $10,000 that Towler or Davies will take home, but $1,000 is quite nice.
Yeah, $1,000. Well, you know, you can build yourself a nice PC, or you know, upgrade your system a bit with that money, or maybe even take your family out to a nice dinner. But yeah, I take, you know, $1,000 is a lot of money, and for the inaugural season, you know, things only grow when you're NASCAR, and for the inaugural season, you know, what a championship prize we're battling for. And next season, you know, I can't wait to see what happens there. But Brad Davies makes his way up into the 2nd position, and now looks to be chasing down Towler. As even making that pass, he has gained some ground on Towler.
We've also got some drivers trying to lock their spots in for next season. They're not going to win the $10,000 this year, but maybe next year they're trying to lock that spot in for the opportunity to win $10,000 next season as well. Darren Stevens needs to finish 15th or higher to secure his spot for the 2011 run. Vinny Sansone needs 7th and win a tiebreaker or for better top finishing position, while Daniel Pope needs to finish 6th or better to lock it in. Jim Moore, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Dion Verger, Jim Cottle, and Derek Cash were all mathematically eligible to remain or to get into the top 30. However, some of those drivers not involved in tonight's race, most notably Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's kind of getting ready for a big race coming up on during this weekend, so he's not able to come out and come running with us. He's going to have to race his way in if he's going to compete in next season's NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship.
Yeah, there are a number of pro drivers out there right now who are running races throughout the week, practicing and just, you know, doing their best to see if they can't make it into this series for next season. So a lot of competition all week long, and even if you're not, you know, you're not of the caliber of driver who's going to make it into the top, very top, you know, iRacing.com has racing divisions for you. You start out, if you want to sign up today, go to iRacing.com, and right now we have a plan for buy 1 get 3 months for the purchase of 1, and you can start racing a Legends car this week.
Start racing that Legends car and start working your way up through. Brad Davies, speaking of working his way up, is working his way up to Richard Towler. Less than half a second gap between Richard Towler and Brad Davies. 1 and 2 on the racetrack, 1 and 2 in the standings. Richard Towler knows Brad Davies is coming. Davies is working his tail off trying to track down Richard Towler and put some pressure on him. Davies needs to lead a lap. He needs to stop the bleeding, and right now Richard Towler is dominating this event, but Brad Davies working hard as the yellow flag flies here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Caution on the racetrack.
Looks like Jason Bernstein's involved in an incident in corner number 3 and 4.
Tough break for Jason, an even tougher break for Brad Davies as he was closing in quick. And speaking of quick, as the pace car makes its way by, the Ford Mustang pace car here in the NASCAR-iRacing.com series.
Yeah, it looks like he got up in the wall a little bit. Matt Santel got into the back of him, going down the back straightaway after he got into the fence, and that sent him spinning around, and that's what brought out the caution flag here.
Pit stop taking place here as the leaders will make their way down onto pit road. Brad Davies will get to his pit stall quicker. However, Richard Towler has that much beloved final pit stall on pit road. Nobody ahead of Richard Towler. Davies has to stop a little bit early in his pit, does not. So he's going to have a little bit of a to-do to get out of pit road. Brad Davies looking for some tires, looking for some fuel. Don't know if he'll make an adjustment. He was one of the quickest cars on that run. Davies looks like he might be set up for the long run here tonight, and that's really kind of something that Davies does as Davies wins the battle off from pit road.
Yeah, Brad Davies out first, and he's in position now, so that's a great pit stop for Brad Davies and his crew.
So Davies wins the battle off from pit road. However, Jesse Atchison showing as the race leader as Atchison stays out on the racetrack in the number one machine. The pink numbers on Jesse Atchison's number one, as well as, again, Jesse Atchison joining the cause to recognize and to assist in whatever way we can to help with the research into breast cancer. As now, here comes the number one machine of Jesse Atchison coming down pit road. That's going to hand that lead back over to Brad Davies. Davies will now lead a lap, and once again, we are even and without the drops. Brad Davies will retake that points lead by 1 point. Again, is that most points led. If it ends right now, we do have Richard Towler as the champion. However, it's not ending right now. Tony Gardner, president of iRacing, watching along, and Brad Davies finally getting out to the top spot. Had to work, as right now Jordan Hightower leads this race, but Brad Davies set up for that long run. Richard Towler kind of set up for a little bit shorter run. So far this season, we've seen some great racing, and I know that was one of the goals here within the iRacing community, within the iRacing world, was to give the best sim racers on the planet the best software on the planet to put on some of the best races we can find, and that's exactly what we've seen thus far. Looks like we've lost him again, unfortunately. Tony having some difficulty keeping connection to the TeamSpeak server that we are utilizing. But Nim, you know from firsthand experience, you've been in on these meetings, and you've been involved in a lot of the things going on. The goal was to create the best for the best so they can put on the best shows, and that's what we've seen so far. Everybody at iRacing has to be tickled pink with what we've seen in this series.
For iRacing, speaking for iRacing just a little bit, if I could, this is a very exciting day for iRacing. We are all very, very happy and pleased about what's going on here tonight, and we're all very excited. So, yeah, it's been a great season. We're all looking, forward to the outcome of this race.
There's a lot of things that are going against Brad Davies. Mathematics with the drops are going against Brad Davies. And if he didn't need more things to add to go against him, Nim, history is going against Brad Davies. The last time this series raced at Charlotte Motor Speedway, over 180 laps, led by Richard Towler, and Towler took the win. There's a lot against Brad Davies, but let's face facts. Brad Davies has never been one to worry about what happens on paper. After all, they aren't racing on paper.
That's right. Well, it's all about now, and right now Brad Davies has a lead, and the nice thing about this restart is Davies has Towler stuck up on the outside. Alfala right behind Davies has a bit of an advantage. He'll have the inside line going in corner number one, and he's got Hudson right back there. We've already seen that Hudson tonight is very aggressive. So if we can get, or Davies wants to get Towler back there, back along the lose some spots on this restart a little bit. You never know what happens after that, and that takes a lot of control out of Towler's hands. So we'll see what happens on this restart.
Restart coming up as Towler has been the dominant driver on the restarts, and we'll see if it can be Towler or Davies able to pull away on this restart. Davies, your race leader. Here we come. Green flag in hand. Green flies. Davies gets a good start. Richard Towler did not. Here comes Ray Alfala down to the inside of Richard Towler. The two Floridians now ahead of Richard Towler.
Yeah, a little bit of gamesmanship on that start. Davies trying to hold back the field a little bit, had a little bit of a late restart. Towler wanted to go a little bit. Towler tried to jump a little bit, but Davies wasn't having any of it, and that let Davies get the jump, and Alfala was able to follow him through.
Ray Alfala up in the second spot. Brad Davies likes to see people that aren't Richard Towler right behind him. It's Davies, Alfala, Towler, and then Wood as these drivers woe it down. Trouble towards the back of the pack. That'll bring us under caution yet again. Pope involved in this most recent yellow flag.
Jim Moore also involved as he gets his car righted. And Andrew Fayash III looks like he's got heavy damage to that vehicle. So Pope has heavy damage also. So a couple of cars look like they're going to be eliminated in this wreck here.
Well, here we go. We've seen a lot of things go down, but right now, so far, we've avoided a couple of things that we were concerned about. One is our buddy Sandeep Banerjee has not yet been involved in one of these incidents, and that's sort of a break from the norm. He usually finds a way to, unfortunately, by no fault of his own, get involved in these incidents. So that's a positive for Sandeep Banerjee. As of right now, not including bonus points for the most laps led, Richard Towler would win the championship by 23 points. So if the race ends right now, this very second, Richard Towler wins the championship by 28 points over Brad Davies. I don't know if Brad Davies is doing that math in his mind, or Brad Davies has resigned himself to the idea of he can only control the number 2 machine. He can only control what happens in his race. He can only do anything that he can do to win this championship. Everything else is up to the sim racing gods.
Yeah, that's right. You just got to do the best that you can and put yourself in a position to win. And after that, it's just, the racing luck or whatever happens. And right there we see, Towler back to third now. So that's a little bit obviously in Davies' favor, and anything can happen at that point. So we'll see what happens at this point going forward, and, we'll see how it happens.
Davies, Alfala, Towler, Wood, Hudson, your top 5. Barry, McKenzie, Olson, Gorlinski, and Lewandowski, your top 10. And that is a huge top 10. And that's a top 10 that can win anywhere against any competition. We've often said it, the best racers on the net have come together here in this particular series, and we'll find out who the best oval racer is for 2010. I'm looking forward as well, Nim, to 2011, as the series will happen again in 2011. Possibly some tweaks here, some tweaks there. After all, Dover's available for the schedule. That was just released recently. Pocono's available for the schedule. That's been added to the iRacing service. There are more tracks potentially on the way to the iRacing service, more changes potentially on the way to the iRacing service, and more drivers on the way. One of them, a good buddy of mine, Richie Davidowitz. Watch out for him. He's going to be a threat in 2011.
Yeah, he's raced a couple times this season in this series, and obviously a very good driver. We look forward to seeing him racing during our next season.
He's come with us a couple of times out to the racetrack and had some fun, enjoyed the action out here. As a matter of fact, Richie right now, unfortunately, 16 laps down in the number 10 machine. His day done for the night. Tough break for Richie Davidowitz, but he's been an outstanding competitor thus far. I do believe we do have Tony Gardner, president of iRacing, back with us. And Tony, thus far it's been a very competitive race. Brad Davies and Richard Towler, I should say, doing everything they can to lock in this championship and keep their car as clean as possible.
Yeah, just as advertised. It's exciting so far. I'm really enjoying it.
Obviously, as you watch on, your mind is starting to turn as the president of iRacing, and you'll have a meeting immediately following this race, and then another one tomorrow morning. You'll have another meeting as you continue to look at ways to make iRacing better. Obviously, a lot of things going through your mind. We're not going to put you on the spot to try to figure out what those things are right now, but I know you've got your mind rolling, and these drivers, they've been really kind of instrumental in the development and the advancement of iRacing, as these drivers are really giving you a lot of positive feedback as to the direction that they would like to see the software take, haven't they?
Yeah, they absolutely have. We've been taking notes all season long. Some things we've changed in season, but we've tried to keep it pretty consistent. But some things that we want to do for next year, we didn't want to change mid-season, but we're definitely going to put them in, and a lot of it's based on driver feedback. It's been a long season, 36 weeks, 37 weeks they've been at this, over 18 races over 37 weeks. So it's been very competitive and very fun to be a fan, and I watch it I watch the broadcast every week. So it's been a blast for me.
Thank you so much, Tony. We'd love to have you stick around with us throughout the remainder of this race, as I know that our viewers and our competitors here have a lot of questions potentially going through their mind, and you've been able to answer every single one of them thus far and done it very, very graciously. Brad Davies is your leader. Ray Alfala sits outside, and all Florida front row for the restart here in this one. Right behind Brad Davies is Richard Towler, coming to us all the way from Europe. Restart happens. Green flag flies. Towler side by side with Alfala. Davies again out with the early advantage. Ray Alfala stickered on the restart. He's going to lose several positions. Stuck to the high side, Nim.
Yeah, this was an advantage for Richard Towler on this restart. It looks like Alfala keeping up the momentum on the outside as Towler moves into the second place, and he has position and in the advantage going down the corner number one. Now Derek Wood challenges Ray Alfala as they come off of 3 and 4, but Alfala is going to be able to keep the momentum, and he's going to hang on to that third position.
Ray Alfala keeps the motor wound up on the high side. Can he get a run down to the inside of the number 7 machine of Richard Towler? Ray Alfala takes a peek to the inside, keeps that car locked down to that yellow line as they head down the backstretch. Yellow flag back out again.
Yeah, Jason Anderson sits sideways on the front straightaway, so it looks like the 36 was also involved.
That's Jordan Hightower in the 36. The 27 is Jason Anderson, and Anderson, one of our drivers, sporting the pink numbers here this evening, as the 27 looks to be the trigger for that one. Got loose out of turn number 4, and everything else is just reactionary, unfortunately, for these drivers. So we're going to once again have a Davies-Towler front row for the restart. It'll be Davies on the inside. You know what happened last time Towler was on the outside row for the restart. He lost a spot.
Yeah, it's not good to start on the outside. It hasn't been for these drivers so far, but a lot of heavy contact, and poor Sandeep involved in that one through no fault of his own, but number of cars eliminated. Looked like Sandeep Energy is out of the race. Andrew Fast, the third, is just retired also, so a number of drivers, heavy contact in that one. Don't forget, everybody, for your NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship news and all your other news here at iRacing, please visit nracingnews.com. There you can get all your sim racing news and all your news for all the races that have happened on iRacing.com, plus your real world racing news over at nracingnews.com. So don't forget about and go over and visit nracingnews.com for all your real world and sim racing news.
You know, you talk about physical world racing, and one of the important things for any racing group or any race driver for that matter is to reach out to race fans, and there are no bigger race fans in my book than those that participate in the activity of sim racing. We've got Nick Rend with us here, and Nick, have you been able to witness the absolute loyalty of not only race fans but above and beyond that, the sim racer as well? I mean, these are the ultimate racing fans, aren't they?
Yeah, they definitely are, and I consider myself to be one of those. I was just at the race in Kansas on on Sunday, and here I am watching another NASCAR sanctioned event live on a Tuesday night, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there that are chatting it up in the live chat and talking and blogging about the same boat. That's part of NASCAR. It's truly a lifestyle. It's not just a one-and-done type thing.
Well, we've seen people out there that they will get their favorite driver's name tattooed on them. They'll get their favorite driver's number tattooed. The merchandise sales are absolutely huge for folks out there. And the other thing that loyalty comes into play with, and we can bring Tony in with this one, Tony Gardner, president of iRacing, is race fans and fans of a particular driver will often support the sponsors that support those drivers. For example, if you were a Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan, and when he was racing for Budweiser, you went to the store, you were looking for beer, you were looking no further than for the red case. Same thing applies here in the sim racing world, and we're able to see where a lot of these drivers' loyalties lie with who they've chosen to put on their cars, and really kind of a unique opportunity for potential sponsors out there, both within iRacing itself and with these drivers, to get their name out to some of the most loyal fans in the world, isn't it?
Yeah, as you can see, a lot of these drivers have their own sponsors and have their own fans. And if you read the text in the forums on iRacing, you'll see some fan bases for each of these drivers, just like the Sprint Cup series. So it's pretty cool. And as Nick said earlier, we're Nick and NASCAR and iRacing have been talking to sponsors to sponsor these series globally. So people are companies and people are starting to really take notice of this series, and it's a very, very unique way to spread the word about your company or whatever. So it's all good.
The opportunities continue to open up here within the iRacing world, both for competitors and non-competitors as well. The non-competitors can get themselves involved here with iRacing through sponsorship, through the following of some of their favorite drivers, and this is some fantastic racing. I mean, Nim, we've been able to watch some great races over the course of this 18-race season, and outside of this particular series, there's been some phenomenal racing going on iRacing. It's all over YouTube. It's all over Facebook. It's everywhere you look. Some great racing and some great action, and it's really great for the race fan, especially now when we're coming up to the end of the physical racing season. We still got our iRacing, don't we?
Well, that's right. And one thing is, yeah, that's right, iRacing does race all year round, and that's where you see a lot of the real-world drivers racing with us. So if you have any questions about what kind of cars you can race with, just visit iRacing.com, and you'll see the list of cars right there, ranging from the Legends cars, the SK Modifieds, the late models, the trucks, the Impala cars, NASCAR different divisions, and all the tracks that you can also too. And if you like road racing, boy, we got a bunch of road racing cars. We got the Formula One car, the Williams F1 car, coming out very shortly. We also have the Indy car, the Star Mazda series, and the Grand Am prototype cars. So we got, if whatever your flavor is, it is here at iRacing. So for $12, you can get 3 months worth of racing, and you can come check us out for $12. So we're getting ready for a restart as Brad Davies leads them to the line.
Here we go. Green flag flies. We are underway. Davies, once again, your leader. Towler's going to have to deal with Ray Alfala. Towler stuck to the high side, Ray Alfala, and here comes the number 4 of Tyler Hudson trying to form a line. Everybody trying to get by the high side.
This is where it's hairy for Towler, as Towler's going to be able to make his way into the 3rd spot, going down the back straightaway. Davies has your lead, Alfala second. Towler was able to get his way back down in position, and be lucky to do so, as Derek Wood was putting the challenge to him, going down the back straightaway.
Brad Davies, your race leader. Ray Alfala sits in 2nd. Richard Towler is 3rd. Derek Wood in the number 11 machine has moved his way into 4th position, but here comes the number 4 of Tyler Hudson. Hudson has had some issues so far this race, but able to keep himself pretty quick. Connor McKenzie in the number 16 working hard. He's got some damage to that pink number 16, trying to hold off the number 3 of Josh Berry. That might be a losing battle. I don't know of many people that can hold off Josh Berry when he puts his mind to getting around you.
Josh Berry is a slow starter, but he always comes on at the end as he has a look under McKenzie coming off corner number 4, not able to do it right now, actually corner number 2, not able to make a challenge this time by, but that is somebody we are going to have to, or these other drivers are going to have to deal with by the end of this race. Josh Berry making his way up to the front of this field. And actually that's good news for Davies. Davies needs to put as many people as he can between him and Towler. So Davies wants to see Berry get up there as soon as possible.
I think Davies wants to see Berry get by Richard Towler, but maybe stay in 3rd position. I don't think Brad Davies wants to see Josh Berry in his rearview mirror at any point, whether it's for a championship or not, because Josh Berry's not the kind of guy that's just going to lay back and let you win your 10 grand. Josh Berry wants the race win, and that's all there is to it.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Josh Berry wants to win. That's the only reason he's here tonight. He wants that win. But right now, Davies looking very, very strong up front. He's able to gap 2nd place and looking good. But Davies definitely wants to get Berry up there in front of Towler. So he'll contend with him if he has to, and he'd rather contend with him than to see him lay back. So we'll see what happens here. But Davies right now out to a half-second lead over Ray Alfala, starting lap number 75.
74 laps complete. Lap number 75 now up on the board. Davies, Alfala, Towler, Wood, and Hudson, your top 5. McKenzie, Berry, Olson, Gorlinski, and Hazard, your top 10. Thomas Hazard starting to work his way up in towards the top 10. Another guy working his way towards that top 10, currently running in the 13th position, the number 20 of Florian Goddard. And Florian has done some amazing work with video and doing some commercials and video recaps and just some awesome stuff from Florian Goddard. I always look forward to seeing what Florian has at iReviews as far as recent events here within the iRacing world. Some great stuff from Florian Goddard.
Yeah, Florian is very passionate about his racing. When he's not driving or working on setups, he's working on videos and ways to promote the sport. So Florian Goddard, very, very passionate about his sport.
Connor McKenzie, the number 16, tried to get to the inside of the number 4 machine of Tyler Hudson. Hudson slammed that door shut on McKenzie. McKenzie, no choice but to drop back in line. That slows him down a little bit. Josh Berry tried to build a run, tried to get an angle on him, but here comes the number 9 machine of Theo Olson. Olson and Berry locked in battle. Olson down to the inside. Here comes John Gorlinski as well. Great battling mid-pack here.
Yeah, Brian Schoenberg also looking into that battle as they come out of corner number 4. Those guys really mixing it up.
Also right behind Schoenberg, the guy that we were just talking about, Florian Goddard, also involved in this, as Gorlinski goes to the high side of Theo Olson, and John Gorlinski is going to have the advantage down the backstretch. Gorlinski gets it done in the penthouse.
Yeah, now Hazard looks to the inside. Oh, they almost make contact there. Very close as Thomas Hazard looks to the inside of Theo Olson. Olson didn't want to give him room, and it didn't look like Hazard was going to back out at all. Almost had an accident right there.
The main Performance PC sponsored number 8 of Thomas Hazard, trying to find his way around the Alpine Stars Chevrolet of Theo Olson. John Gorlinski trying to check out. Josh Berry still stuck behind Connor McKenzie. The 13 machine, Thomas Lewandowski, losing a little bit of ground. He comes into tonight 3rd in points. He's our $1,000 man.
Yep, and he's battling with Josh Berry, who is 4th in points. And Josh Berry. We were talking earlier about the guy who is a latecomer, or a guy that's going to be very tough here late in the race. So McKenzie's got to make sure he doesn't give enough spots that will allow Berry to pass him for that 3rd place and receive $1,000.
John Gorlinski right now sits 4th in points, tied for 4th in points in the 8th position, the Virginia Tech Chevrolet. John Gorlinski trying to run hard and run well, trying to track down Josh Berry, a guy who he wouldn't mind getting around. After all, that's who he's tied for points with.
As looks like Barry's getting the inside of Connor McKenzie coming down the front straightaway. He'll pick up that spot and he'll move his way up into the 6th position. So Josh Berry on the move.
Big wiggle for the number 9 machine as Theo Olsen clipped the apron, de-wedging the race car, as they call it, as Josh Berry continues to work hard, gets past the number 16 of Connor McKenzie. So Josh Berry up to 6th, Connor McKenzie down to 7th. Berry sets his sights on Tyler Hudson. Two drivers that are not known for being overly patient. Although Tyler Hudson has tried to show a little bit of patience, Josh Berry has been able to sort of shatter a lot of the misconception around his driving style, as Josh Berry has shown a lot of patience here within this series.
Oh, he's definitely making his way up through, and he has gotten himself in a couple wrecks, which he's talked to some other people about, and he's learned throughout the season where is got a little bit over aggressive earlier in the season, gotten himself in a few wrecks that has cost him some position. Well, he's taken that knowledge, and that experience, and he's learned from it, and he's working on better positions and getting better positions, especially here late in the season, and that's put him in a position to challenge for this 3rd spot here in the last race.
Indeed, it has, and one of the things we've seen throughout this series, and really all throughout the sim racing community, is just some really great human beings that are willing to help out their fellow competitors, even if it means they might lose a race, or in this situation, you could lose a championship. And you could lose the $10,000 that goes with it. They're willing to go out of their way and help others out. I have seen drivers just hand over their setups and help other drivers with making adjustments to those setups. It's always nice to see a driver that's at a higher level sort of slow down a little bit and turn around behind him and stick their hand out and say, I know you're struggling just a little bit. Come here, my friend. This is how it's done.
Yeah, we have caution on speedway as John Gorlinski clipped the grass coming out of the front straightaway and onto the quad oval here. He clipped the grass, spun his car around, got hard into the fence, the only car involved, but he knows they're hard into the fence, and it looks like his evening is going to be done here on lap number 85.
And that's going to kill our tie for 4th position. Josh Berry will have that 4th position now. Can Josh Berry move up into 3rd in the points? Berry and Lewandowski, they're racing for $1,000. My friends, that is not chump change. As we have our yellow flag here, we have the opportunity to once again bring Tony Gardner into the broadcast, president of iRacing, as these drivers make their pit stops here with 85 laps complete, make it 86 complete when they cross the stripe. So not many laps left to go, just a little bit right around the halfway point, as a matter of fact, here in this one. Tony, this question comes from one of our viewers. Wants to know if there's going to be a rescan of Daytona since ISC is repaving Daytona. Is it going to be rescanned for the iRacing software?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll rescan that track. We'll probably let everything settle a little bit before we do it. Make sure it's done, and NASCAR and Daytona and the track is happy with it, and then we'll go down there and rescan it and roll a new version of it out. It won't be anytime soon, but we'll probably wait 6 months until the track surface is good to go, and then we'll go rescan it.
Looking forward to that. A lot of the drivers not really tickled with the bumpiness of Daytona, and that's actually been toned down quite a bit here within the NASCAR-iRacing.com world. A little bit bumpier in the physical world, but it's one of the things that you just you tweak it, you do what you can with it, and you want to stay as true to real as you possibly can, and that's one of the things that iRacing has done. These aren't tracks that are just kind of built in a computer somewhere and the track is never seen. There's an extensive process to adding a racetrack into the iRacing software and into the iRacing surface. It has to be absolutely dead on. We're talking tiny little segments, fractions of inches, make a difference to you guys, doesn't it?
Absolutely. We won't just modify the track to make it easier to drive. We're going to do with the track what it really is, and you know, we spend over $100,000 on average per track. I mean, by the time we physically go laser scan it and bring the model back and build the point clouds and have our team of artists go work on it and do the bump maps and paint all the collateral material around the track, the buildings, the trees. So we take thousands of pictures of the track, and we really try to nail it down, and we do a great job of that. I think it's so anyway, that's a big emphasis for us at iRacing.
So as tracks continue to get added to the iRacing software, Tony, I know that there's a long list of tracks that you want to get added in, and the list gets longer and longer every time you visit the forums. The users here within the iRacing world not shy about letting you know what they want, are they?
No, they're not. You know, we do have probably 20 tracks that are already licensed that we haven't even done yet, but we keep trying to go get new ones, and but we do take our time. We don't rush to get them out, so we might release 7 or 8 tracks per year. We just released Dover yesterday, and we just signed Iowa Speedway yesterday. So there's an example of us finishing a track and signing a track all on the same day. But we probably won't come out with Iowa Speedway for 2 years. The next track on our list that we're coming out isn't a NASCAR track, but we're coming out with Spa over in the overseas. So we're always trying to improve, and then we'll go back to tracks and make those better too. Existing tracks, the Daytona example you just brought up is a good example. So that's it.
Brad Davies, your race leader. Ray Alfala sits in second. Richard Towler is third. Nim, Brad Davies looking to lead as many laps as he can. Let's not forget, extra bonus points for leading the most laps. Every point counts here tonight.
Well, that's definitely what he's doing tonight, and he's got Towler right behind him, so he's going to try to work this restart to see if he can't get Alfala into that second position. But as we've seen in the last restarts, that outside guy doesn't usually isn't able to slot back into that second position. So a little bit of a difficult position here. Towler definitely has an advantage on Alfala as they come to the line this tie. Davies has given slow starts to this one. He does it again. So Brad Davies gets off, gets a good start. Alfala is up there on the outside, but Towler has position down the inside. It's going to be hard for Alfala to hold that second position as they go through corner number 1 and 2.
Ray Alfala trying to keep it wound up on the high side and keep in contact with his fellow Floridian. Ray Alfala and Richard Towler drag race down the backstretch. Nice push from Derek Wood right to the back bumper of Richard Towler. That could move Derek Wood up into third as Richard Towler retakes that second spot. Ray Alfala down to third, and it looks like there's going to be a little bit of room. Yes, Ray Alfala does drop in line just ahead of the number 11 machine of Derek Wood.
Derek Wood going down in the corner number 1 that last time by. Had to check up a little bit because the traffic checked up in front of him. That allows Josh Berry to get position going down the back straightaway, and Berry will move into that 4th spot.
Josh Berry continues to pick up positions here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Here comes Wood. Wood battling back on the inside of Josh Berry's number 3, and Wood will retake that position from Josh Berry. So Berry was in 4th, but it was short-lived. Here comes Connor McKenzie with the number 11 of Wood as well.
Yeah, Wood got a little bit loose coming off corner number 4 last time by. That allowed Wood to get by him. Now Berry blocks McKenzie going down to the 3rd turn there a little bit. He wants to hold on to that spot. He feels like he's a lot faster. Didn't want to get freight trained. So Berry will now take his challenge to Wood as they go down the corner number 1.
Josh Berry and Derek Wood resuming a battle that has gone on all season long. These two drivers known for going hard, known for not lifting, known for being ultra competitive, and especially where it comes to finishing ahead of one another. These two drivers once again find themselves dueling it out on the racetrack, almost, Nim, like these two drivers are just drawn to one another.
Yeah, these guys have been battling each other all year long, so they're very familiar with each other. Got a good battle back for position right now. The car number 8 of Thomas Hazard has Tyler Hudson to the inside of him. That's a battle for the 9th position, as it looks like Hudson will gain that spot coming off corner number 4.
Davies, Towler, I'll follow your top 3. Wood, Barry, McKenzie, the top 6. Then it's Olson, Lewandowski, Hazard, and Tyler Hudson rounding out the top 10. Fantastic racing action we have seen thus far, a little bit beyond the halfway point. Brad Davies continues to lead. He's looking for the most laps led. Davies knows what he has to do. In order to win this championship, let's be honest, Tim, Brad Davies needs to dominate this race, and he needs Richard Towler to have a less than stellar day. All Brad Davies can do is control that number 2 machine. All he can do is try to win this race. Everything else, well, that's up to everybody else. Brad Davies can't drive Richard Towler's car for him.
No, definitely not. He can only do what he can do, and he's doing the best job he can right now. He's putting himself in the position. He's out front, and he looks to be the fastest car on the track right now. He's got about a half a second lead over Towler on lap number 96. .70 laps to go next time by, so that'll definitely be a pit stop, maybe 2. It looks like these guys, you know, their tires are wearing out before they're out of fuel, and they can go about 35 to 40 laps on tires, so definitely one more pit stop from this point forward, and we'll see what happens from here. But right now, Davies has Towler closing in on one a little bit, half a second, a couple laps to go. That lead down to 3.41 seconds this time by. I'm sorry, 0.341 seconds.
And the placement of the decimal point does make a difference, especially if you're Richard Towler. Brad Davies, by the way, likes your placement of the decimal point better than the actual placement of the decimal point. He wouldn't mind having a 3.4 second lead over Richard Towler. That would really kind of put the pressure on Richard Towler and kind of make him sweat just a little bit. Davies continues to lead. Towler sits in second. Ray Alfala sits in the 3rd position. Derek Wood is 4th. 5th is Josh Berry.
In your 6th position, we have Connor McKenzie, who's getting a big challenge right now by Theo Olson going down the back straightaway. Olson looks to the inside. McKenzie sees that he has a position and will give up that spot. So move Theo Olson up to the 6th. Connor McKenzie back to 7th. Tyler Hudson running in the 8th position right now. Brian Schoenberg 9th, and Thomas Hazard is in 10th.
Connor McKenzie repasses Theo Olson, passes him back up in the number 16 machine, so McKenzie back up into 6th. Nice job for Connor McKenzie, and it's difficult to explain to people how difficult it is to keep your mindset about you when somebody gets that position. It kind of throws you out of your rhythm. It throws you off your game a little bit. McKenzie was able to snap right back into that mode and get right back past the number 9 machine of Theo Olson and get right back into that rhythm of clicking off laps and working his way towards lap 167.
Yeah, that move that he did right there looked like one of the old Dale Earnhardt Sr. moves, a crossover move where, you know, okay, I'll let you go by into this corner, then wham, all of a sudden he's right underneath you and taking that position back. So a really nice move there by Connor McKenzie.
Well, it has to do with having some experience at the racetrack, and McKenzie, one of the youngest racers in the series, still has a lot of experience within these racetracks and within Charlotte Motor Speedway and within all the tracks that we visit and go to as part of this championship series. He's put his time in, he's put the work in, he's paid the dues, so to speak, and he understands what that car that just made that move at a particular point in the racetrack is likely to do. He knew that Olson was likely to drift up the racetrack and open that opportunity up for him. Connor McKenzie said, you know what, I'm not going to block you, I'm just going to repass you.
Yeah, it definitely shows the caliber of driver here in this series, because that, you know, those are racing moves that you see every Sunday afternoon when you're watching, you know, the Sprint Cup drivers on TV.
And it comes down to patience. It comes down to the patience these drivers are able to display. Patience and skill. And those are some of the things that that really kind of transfer over from the simulated world to the physical world, you need that patience. You need the understanding of what that car is likely to do. You need to do that research. Oh, big wiggle for Connor McKenzie. Almost finds the outside wall. Here comes Theo Olsen yet again. Olsen bided his time, waited for a mistake, got that mistake, and passed up Connor McKenzie again.
Yeah, McKenzie looked at that move again, that crossover move, but this time Theo wasn't having nothing to do with it. He covered that inside line and wouldn't allow Connor to have that move. So Theo Olsen solidly up into that 6th position now.
Theo Olsen sits in the 6th position. Connor McKenzie down to 7th. McKenzie needs to try to get back into that mindset. And how difficult is it for these drivers, Nim, not to let emotions take over? We've seen it a couple times tonight, and we've seen it throughout the season. When your emotion takes over, that's when you start to make mistakes. That's when you start to get in trouble. Connor McKenzie really needs to just sort of forget that pass ever happened, forget that mistake ever happened, and just get back to business. How difficult is that, though?
Well, that's one of the training, that's one of the aspects of the racing that these guys are doing that transfers over in the real world a whole lot. Is these guys, you know, they're you know, it's about being smart, and it's about knowing when to pass, when to put your car in certain positions, and that's what Connor's dealing with right now. You know, this is a long race. These guys are putting a lot of wear on their tires. They're using up their car, and they got to decide when it's appropriate to do that. And Connor having a real good battle with Theo right now, and he's got to decide how much of his tire wear he wants to use, and you know, he's putting a lot of those real-world racing conditions, he's putting the test right here.
Josh Berry has some physical racing experience as well. He's found a spot down to the inside of the number 5 machine of Ray Alfala, the Floridian, losing position after position. That car has loosened up, and loosened up severely. It's a handful and a half for Ray Alfala. He's finding a way to handle it. He's finding a way to hang on to it and keep it pointed in the right direction. And when they are as good as Ray Alfala is, it's really kind of hard to see how loose that car is. A little tiny wiggle, and Alfala's right there, ready to catch it the second it happens. But trust me, that car is a handful for Ray Alfala.
Yeah, and he talked earlier today about the setup that he put under the car and the adjustments he had to make on his first pit stop. It looks like he's got it dialed in pretty good, but it looks like he is pretty loose. And as this race goes forward, and this is one of the longest green flag runs we've had to this point, as the tires wear and as the race goes forward, he might be finding it more difficult, and his car might be loosening up a little bit, and he might be struggling with that right now, as Theo Olsen looks to be right on his bumper trying to gain position.
Just a lap or so ago, Derek Wood tried to move the outside wall. The bad news, the wall did not move. The good news is, it doesn't look like he's done any damage to the number 11 machine. Derek Wood continues on, albeit over 3 seconds behind your race leader, and that's a race leader being Brad Davies that has checked out. Richard Towler now over 2 seconds back and lost another 0.2 of a second, 2.242 back from Brad Davies is Richard Towler. Brad Davies right now the class of this field.
Looks like a number of these drivers are getting a little bit loose as we go through this long green flag run here. Tyler Hudson got a little bit loose right there in front of Brian Schoenberg, and Schoenberg will try to challenge him going down in the corner number 3 right now. But a lot of these guys, as we go along here on lap number 111, this long tire run, their car is starting to get a bit loose as Connor McKenzie gets a little bit up into the wall there coming out of corner number 4, and that'll let the number 4 car of Tyler Hudson get around him going into corner number 1.
Some of the big name players, the heavy hitters, the big guns, if you will, starting to work their way towards the front and start to make themselves known. Thomas Hazard starting to work his way towards the front as Hazard dives down to the inside of Brian Schoenberg. Schoenberg on the high side, Hazard on the low side, down the front stretch they head, and Hazard will have the position as they head towards turn number 1.
You know, it's definitely coming down to the 2 guys who have been battling all year, Brad Davies and Richard Towler. This track, Charlotte Motor Speedway, very difficult track, very tight and very fast. That's one thing. That's why you don't see, you know, there's definitely a lot of room to race side by side here, but a lot of these guys, when they get on their line, they're definitely faster. And, Yeah, it's coming down to Brad Davies and Richard Towler. These guys have been the class of the series all season long, and they're the class of this race as they go for basically $13,000 they're fighting over right here, and it's the biggest race of their lives, and they have come to it today with their game faces on as they run 1-2 in this series and in this race.
Brad Davies set up for the long run. He needs this thing to go perhaps through some green flag pit stops as Davies looks to be the most dominant car on the racetrack over the course of the long run. Took him a while to get there. A little bit of difficulties in qualifying put him a little bit deeper in the field than he would have liked to have been. But Davies now able to flex that muscle and pull away. And the longer this run goes, the better it is for Brad Davies. I think Davies may have an advantage with green flag pit stops as well, especially knowing that Richard Towler in the past has been known to make a couple mistakes under green flag pit stop conditions.
Well, we'll see if the pressure gets to either one of them. But right now, Davies doing the best he can and all that he can. He's got a 3-second lead over Richard Towler right now. Towler doing all that he has to right now. All he has to do is follow Brad Davies around. He's 3 seconds behind, but he's about 1.5 seconds ahead of that third-place car of Derek Wood.
Absolutely, and Richard Towler knows he's not trying to win this race. It'd be nice. Sure, it'd be nice to add that 5th win on the season and the 2nd win here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, but he doesn't need that 5th win. It's not about winning the race for Richard Towler. It's about a championship, and we've talked to a lot of these drivers and said, when do you go into points mode? For Richard Towler, I think you're in points mode right now. For Brad Davies, you're also in points mode. Unfortunately for Brad Davies, it's a little bit different points mode as Brad Davies just needs to flat out dominate. Richard Towler can just sort of kick back, relax, and run consistent laps.
Josh Berry making his way. He's up into the 4th position. He's got about 1.5 seconds up to Derek Wood. He's kind of stabilized himself in there in the 4th spot. He's got Ray Alfalo right behind him, Theo Olsen. That seems to be the closest battle on the track right now in the 4th, 5th, and 6th position between Josh Berry, Ray Alfalo, and Theo Olsen. I wonder if we can ask Nick from NASCAR, Nick Wren, if Richard Towler does win the championship, Nick, will he be the first non-U.S. driver to win a NASCAR championship?
Not technically, because we do race, in Mexico in the NASCAR Corona Series and up north in the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series. So, not technically, but we'd definitely be looking forward to hosting him. And you got to wonder if the guy's got a passport. So hopefully he's got all that paperwork squared away. And if he is fortunate enough to win tonight, we'll be able to jump on a plane and join us in Miami. If not him, then Mr. Davies.
Yeah, that'll be a big party down there in Homestead. Championship weekend with all the NASCAR champions down there for that weekend. That'll be a lot of fun. Brad Davies stretching his lead out right now, 3.711 seconds over Richard Towler.
We do have some drivers that have already made a pit stop. Chris Mayne has made a pit stop, and Mayne will be tracking down Richard Towler. Mayne 2 laps down, but some fresher tires is going to help him just drive right past Richard Towler more than likely. Chris Mayne in the number 31 machine, again, 2 laps down, but he's made his pit stop, and this may be the last pit stop that needs to be made. Richard Towler, I think, right now, just hoping for a yellow flag.
Yeah, he definitely needs a yellow. He needs to shake this race up a little bit and, have some things happen. But we have a couple cars out there right now. It looks like somebody banged off the wall a little bit there, but was able to keep it straight. But pit stops are coming up, and that could mix things up in itself.
Well, it certainly will mix things up, and it'll throw a wrench in the works for these drivers, knowing they have to make green flag pit stops. It's something that Brad Davies is used to doing. He's raced for years with the DMP group, and they were known for long green flag runs and just having some incredible races. Brad Davies is used to having to win races, making a green flag pit stop and not making a mistake. I don't know all that much about Richard Towler's previous sim racing experience before getting involved in the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. I don't know if he's used to having to make stellar green flag pit stops, but there are some drivers behind him that are used to it. Derek Wood, Josh Berry, Ray Alfala, Tyler Hudson, Thomas Hazard, Brian Schoenberg. These are all drivers that have that DMP link, and they are all used to having to make picture-perfect green flag pit stops just to be competitive.
You know, we've had a lot of attrition here in this race today. It looks like we have about 19 cars on the track, and actually through our races that we've been having this season, that's a lot of attrition. So, and that's actually playing in the Towler's favor. So with less cars on the track, you know, there's less chance of something strange happening or something weird happening. So right now that plays in a little bit into Towler's favor, as Davey still stretching his lead over 4.5 seconds, and the 5 car is now making a pit stop.
The 16 of Connor McKenzie will also be pitting. Tyler Hudson coming down towards pit road, as is Josh Berry, the number 3 machine, as the number 5 of Ray Alfala already on pit road, making his pit stop, pulling out and back to the racetrack. Nice pit stop for Ray Alfala. Josh Berry also on pit road. The 8 machine of, well, we'll double check here, Thomas Hazard, that's who it is on pit road. Schoenberg looks like he'll be coming down pit road. Dion Vergers will be coming down pit road as well. Brad Davies still showing no sign of making that pit stop. And for Brad Davies and Richard Towler, it's almost like a stare down. Who's going to pull the trigger first? And you got to believe when one of them comes, the other one's coming too.
Yeah, no doubt. But right now, Davies, I believe, will probably stay out as long as he can. He wants Towler to stay out as long as he can, because if these guys stay out long, then that'll give a chance for all these guys who are making pit stops to catch up. And that works in the Davies' favor, because as long as these guys are catching up, they'll be passing these guys for position. And that will put a lot of cars that Towler will have to fight with. So I believe that the longer they stay out, it works in the Davies' favor, because Towler is going to be put back into the mix.
5-second lead for Brad Davies. He can afford to just relax and put it into cruise control, but I don't know that Brad Davies is concerned with cruise control. Right now, Brad Davies has his eyes locked ahead. He has led the most laps, as Davies almost gets collected by a car that is just coming out of pit road. Very close for Brad Davies. Almost got himself taken out of contention right there.
Yeah, these guys that are coming out in fresh tires are a couple seconds a lap faster than Davies and Towler right now. Towler was just passed by the 3 car of Josh Berry, and now Richard Towler comes on pit road.
Richard Towler heading down onto pit road. Nice clean entry onto pit road. The question is now, was he down to pit road speed, or will he get a penalty? A penalty will take you out of this thing completely. Richard Towler needs to be perfect. Talk about pressure. Richard Towler, RT, is feeling that pressure here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Towler will slide into that final pit stall. Nicely done for Richard Towler. Perfect in, and more than likely will be perfect out. This could be a championship-winning pit stop for Richard Towler.
Davies needs to make his way on the pit road now. He actually got a little bit messed up there by a lap car who was going past him on fresh tires, and that cost him some time. But Davies needs to get on pit road, because every lap that he makes now, he's losing time to Towler.
I don't know if Brad Davies is worried about losing time to Richard Towler. I think you got to wonder, can Brad Davies get this to a point that he can take 2 tires and a smaller load of fuel and just go hammer down?
That's an interesting theory there. We're coming up on about 34, 35 laps to go, and that still seems like a long way to go just to take 2 tires, when the drivers earlier today were telling me that 4 tires, you didn't want to go any more than 35 or 40 laps. So it seems like a long way. Here he comes on pit road now.
Coming down onto pit road, your race leader tries to get it woed down, and it looks like he does. Got it woed down, did Brad Davies. Florian Goddard, the final driver to make that run down pit road. Davies will work his way down onto the pit road, and again, more than likely 4 tires for Brad Davies, as we'll have to wait and see what the strategy is. All by his lonesome on pit road. Brad Davies will allow the rest of these drivers back onto the lead lap. We'll see how it all shakes out here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Again, a championship on the line, bragging rights on the line, and Richard Towler lost ground on pit road. Towler right now showing in 5th.
Davies back out on the track and comes right back out of the banking. As you can see, Derek Wood going by Davies, and Wood will take over that second spot from Davies right now. Florian Goddard is your current race leader. Alfalo will make his way by Davies going down the back straightaway, but the most important thing, it looks like Davies is going to stay in front of Towler.
Goddard, your race leader. Derek Wood sits in second. Ray Alfala is third, but here's Brad Davies right on the back bumper, a fellow Floridian. Ray Alfala, brand new tires for Brad Davies, and it's going to take him a few laps to get that car worked in. And remember, he is set up for the long run, Nim. On the short run, Brad Davies, not really a dominant car.
Yeah, well, he's done a good job with his tires, and maybe that's part of his strategy to save his tires. Now he looks to the inside of Ray Alfala going down in the corner number 1. He has position, and one thing his little bit later pit stop does is that gives him a little bit fresher tires than these guys that pitted 4 or 5 laps ago. So those 4 or 5 laps do make a difference, and he is set up a little bit better now, even 2 laps better than Richard Towler on that tire wear. So he's got a little bit greener tires, we've got a little bit more tread on him, and he's in a good position right now, but he's still... Towler's too close to him. There's only one position that separates them, as Florian Goddard still leads this race by about 20 seconds, as now Goddard makes his pit stop, and Derek Wood takes the lead of this race.
Derek Wood now your race leader. Brad Davies 1 second behind Derek Wood. Then it's Ray Alfala and Richard Towler. Towler needs to get back around Ray Alfala, get himself that 1 position cushion or so. And again, Richard Towler has a little bit of cushion. I believe Richard Towler can finish anywhere in the top 7 and take this win.
Yeah, Towler doing a good job. He's doing all he needs to do today. Very, very concentrated effort, very focused. Richard Towler going down the back straightaway. Now he's going to put the challenge to Ray Alfala going down the back straightaway.
Towler trying to get down to the inside of Ray Alfala, and Richard Towler needs to be very, very careful. It's nice to be able to race with a guy like Ray Alfala. You know he's going to run you clean. You get the inside run, he's going to give up that line, and he's going to try to battle back and see if he can find a way around you. As Richard Towler moves up into spot number 3, put Ray Alfala in 4th, Brad Davies still in 2nd. That puts Richard Towler in command for this championship.
Brad Davies moves his way onto the rear bumper of Derek Wood here, starting lap number 39 this time by. 167 lap race. So Brad Davies looking his way. About 2 car lengths now separate him and Derek Wood, and you can tell that Davies is just setting up Wood as they go down the back straightaway, and Davies definitely the better car right now.
Davies absolutely the better car right now, but early in the run, Richard Towler every bit as fast as Brad Davies. About 10 or 15 laps into the run, that's when Brad Davies becomes the dominant driver. That's when his car takes control, as Brad Davies retakes the top spot, works his way by Derek Wood. That's not something that Derek Wood likes to see. He doesn't like to be passed up, even if it is by a guy like Brad Davies, who Derek Wood has a lot of respect for.
Yeah, Derek Wood currently 7th in points. He's locked into that top 30 for next season. He's not really running for a whole lot of different points things today. He wants to win this race, and Derek has won a number of races this season. I believe, how many wins has Derek had? Derek's had 3 wins this season, and he wouldn't mind getting his 4th. But right now, Brad Davies is in the catbird seat and looking best so far.
Davies, Wood, Towler, your top 3. Again, Davies needs as far as he can away from Richard Towler, positions-wise, to try to lock down this championship. Again, don't forget, top 30 in points makes a difference here as well, as the top 30 will get the invitation for next year's NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship season. Whoever wins this championship, whether it's Richard Towler or Brad Davies. Whoever wins this championship will have the very distinct honor of being able to say, I was the first, and there will never again, Nim, be a first. This championship is special.
Yeah, no doubt. A lot of history with NASCAR and all their champions, and tonight we crown the first champion of the NASCAR-iRacing.com Series World Championship, and that very prestigious. A ring comes with that, a lot of money comes with that, a trophy, a jacket, all kinds of good stuff. So, it's a big deal, and right now Brad Davies and Richard Taller are doing their very best, and very, very professional race run by each one of them, and either one of them, whoever wins tonight, truly deserving of this championship.
Well, absolutely, truly deserving of this championship. And, you can look back throughout the season and you can say, well, geez, Brad Davies lost connection on the final lap at Darlington, and that cost him a win, and it may have cost him the championship, but it's an 18-race season. There are ways to make up for things, and don't forget, you get a couple drops, so a couple better positions in races that he won't be dropping, and Brad Davies is the champion. A couple better positions in races that he won't be dropping, and Richard Towler is the champion. Of course, you finish undefeated all season long, and Josh Berry is the champion. So there's always races that these drivers can point to as the reason they did or didn't win the championship. But truth be told, it comes down to the best performance in all 18 races.
Thomas Lewandowski is currently running ninth on the track. He is currently third in points, and if he can stay in third there, which is looking very good for him right now, he will win $1,000 and a trophy and the iRacing.com jacket, and all kinds of good stuff there. A NASCAR-iRacing.com Series World Championship jacket, and so third place, $1,000. That's a nice run there for Thomas Lewandowski, and a good season for Thomas. Josh Berry having a bad round of pit stops there. Remember he was up battling in the third position. He's dropped back to 14th. I don't know what kind of trouble he had, but he was in that battle for that third position in the championship, and currently running 14th on the track.
Figure this thing out now, Nim. The winner of the championship essentially will have earned $555.56. Some races 55 cents, some races 56 cents per race, just with that $10,000 winning. That is some pretty darn good pay. And you know what? There's a lot of short tracks in this country that aren't paying that much to win.
Yeah, that will put him up on the rung as far as driver earnings per race, as far as real world drivers, and there's a lot of drivers out there would like to be making that much money per race. And if you like to do it, you can do it. Anybody watching this race can do it. All you have to do is visit iRacing.com and get signed up. Remember, there's a promo going on right now. Buy 1 month, get 2 free. So for three months, $12 for 3 months, and you can be racing here with us at iRacing, and you can work your way up through the ranks, and you could challenge these drivers next year if you're wanting to do so.
And you've got time to work your way up through the ranks and get close to challenging these drivers for next season, as the number 2 machine of Brad Davies continues to lead. Derek Wood sits in second. Richard Towler right now, I think, just kicking back, relaxing, and trying to figure out how he's going to spend 10,000 American dollars. And it is American dollars, Richard. We're not going to give you 10,000 pounds. I don't know how much that would be in American dollars now. Yep. Davies, your race leader. Wood sits in second. Towler is third. Ray Alfala sits in the fourth position. Fifth is Theo Olson. And it's Tyler Hudson, Connor McKenzie, Thomas Hazard, Thomas Lewandowski, and Brian Schoenberg, your top 10. Just outside the top 10, we find the number 1 machine. Top-ranked driver entering this session, Jesse Atchison. Matt Sentel sits in the 12th position. 13th is Dion Vergers. 14th, the number 3 of Josh Berry. 15th is Florian Goddard. Surprising to see Josh Berry that far back. Why? Got dinged on pit road, Nim.
Yeah, that makes sense. He was up there in third. Pit stops happened, and he got in too fast or got out too fast or something, but definitely penalty. But he's getting the challenge right now by Theo Olson. I'm sorry, that's Ray Alfala getting challenged by Theo Olson going down corner number 1. Alfala not giving Theo a whole lot of room as they went down in the corner number 1 there, but Theo putting the moves on him going down the back straightaway. Not able to make it this time by, but that seems to be a pretty big battle on the track.
Speaking of the battle right now, the points battle, if this race was to end right now, your champion would be Richard Towler by a mere 18 points over Brad Davies. 2,626 to 2,608 by our unofficial calculations. That would be the points championship. $10,000 comes down to 18 points. Can you believe it, Nim?
That's a great battle. You know, a lot of series would love to have their championships come down to that close of a battle. And this inaugural season of the NASCAR-iRacing.com Series World Championship has been a phenomenal season with a great battle coming down to the end.
Closing laps of this one, 12 laps remain. Ray Alfala passed up by the number 9 machine of Theo Olson. Olson works his way by the number 5 of Ray Alfala. Theo Olson trying to get as many positions as he can. I don't think Olson's going to track down Richard Towler. I think Towler right now just needs to settle in, turn some laps. He is locked into third place, barring some sort of a problem. And Nim, let's be honest, these things happen. We've seen accidents do happen. Big wiggle for Theo Olson. 15 cars remain on the lead lap, and I don't think Richard Towler wants any of them to get by him right now.
Well, right now, Richard Towler out there, he wants a safe spot in the track. He just wants to ride around. He's got Derek Wood up there by about half a second in front of him, and he just wants that safe spot in the track. He doesn't have to worry about Derek Wood too much. Derek's a good driver. He's not going to make any mistakes. He's a little bit worried about that lap traffic that they're in and out of occasionally. But right now, he just got that safe spot on the track. There's Derek in front of him, but there's not many cars around. There's nobody behind him, and he's just riding. 10 laps to go this time by.
10 laps remain here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. 10 laps left in this hunt. Actually, make it 9 laps left in this hunt for $10,000. Brad Davies, your race leader, by an amazing 6.8 seconds over Derek Wood. Almost a 7-second lead over Derek Wood. That's a dominant car. Brad Davies is doing everything he can to win this championship. However, Richard Towler is doing what he needs to win this championship.
Yeah, both guys doing exactly what they need. Brad Davies worked very hard, got a great setup, and he's run his race perfectly the way he needed to do so. But Richard Towler has also done the same. And Towler, running in the third spot, has done enough so far. Still a few laps to go, but he's done enough and exactly what he's needed to do to win this championship. We'll see if he can hang on and do it, and see if anything plays out here at the end.
So Brad Davies right now just kind of hoping that Richard Towler experiences a little bit of difficulty, because that's the only way he's taking home $10,000. But you know what? $3,000 is still a pretty darn good payday. And at the end of this race, $14,000 will be sent out and dispersed between the top 3 in the points. That's some big money, and there's prizes, and there's other things involved. There's a whole bunch of stuff, along with the honor of being a top 3 finisher in the first ever NASCAR-iRacing.com Series World Championship. It's never going to happen again. There's never going to be another first. Yes, there will be another series, but there will never be another first. And it's looking like it will go to Richard Towler for the first ever championship. will be the first one to go overseas, and we may be witnessing the first major NASCAR championship to leave the continent of North America.
You know, a lot of these guys are dealing with, you know, they've been racing forever and they've been winning their race leagues that they've been in and different series that they've been in. But there's obviously a lot more prestige than these guys are used to dealing with, and maybe it's just coming to fruition about the prestige and you know, what's on the line of this series. And you know, a lot of these guys knew what was on the line and things like that, but now that it's becoming real, it's becoming, you know, something that is real to them. And this is the first time that they've had to deal with or had this presented to them, and you know, it's really going to happen. And the prestige is something that is new, and you know, the money and things like that. And yeah, we've been talking about it all season, but now it's happening, and these guys are going to win their money, win their races, and be crowned championships or the podium finishes that they got. And you know, this is something very new to them.
3 laps remain here in this one, and you know, we've talked about it all season long, and talking about it, Nim, is one thing. Anybody can say they're going to give out $10,000 as Towler jumps way down to the inside to pass up some lap traffic. But see, anybody can say they're going to do it. Something totally different to do it. Your reputation is on the line, and the folks here at iRacing and NASCAR are well aware of that, and have no doubt in your mind these funds are being handed out and delivered as quickly as humanly possible, and we're talking almost immediately. 2 laps to go for the number 2 machine of Brad Davies. Davies, your race leader, Brad Davies. White flag in the air. One more trip around the racetrack. Brad Davies doing everything he can, trying to log his 3rd win of this inaugural season for the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. Big slide for Brad Davies. It's looking like it might not be enough to win the championship, though. Davies not having to pass this lap traffic will just kind of relax, settle into a groove behind him, let the lap traffic go. Brad Davies, checkers in the air. 3 wins on the season. Davies takes the win at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Derek Wood will take home 2nd spot. With the championship, that'll go to the number 7 of Richard Towler. RT is $10,000 Gritcher.
Richard Towler is the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Champion, and it'll be everybody celebrating down in Victory Lane down here, and down in the pit crew, all these guys going crazy.
Fantastic run for Richard Towler. RT, $10,000. Richard needs to get that passport in order. He will be NASCAR's guest at Homestead Miami Speedway for the final Cup race of the season as NASCAR crowns another champion. They want to recognize this champion with that particular evening as well. RT will pull it to the front stretch, and for the first time in sim racing history, $10,000 burnouts here on the front stretch, and synchronized burnouts no less, as they have done all season long. Towler and Davies side by side, battling it out for the championship. Talk about some drivers with mutual respect for each other. $10,000 burnout for Richard Towler, and a $3,000 burnout for Brad Davies. $13,000 worth of burning rubber on the front stretch here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Nim.
That's right, $10,000 for Richard and $3,000 for Brad. Both of them having a great day, a great win, and it's a great way for the inaugural season to wind up here. Very exciting.
Your finishing order, unofficial finishing order: Brad Davies, Derek Wood, Richard Towler, Theo Olson, and Ray Alfala. Your top 5, followed by Connor McKenzie, Thomas Hazard, Tyler Hudson, Thomas Lewandowski, and Jesse Atchison. Your top 3 in points all finish in the top 10. Richard Towler, $10,000 richer. Brad Davies, $3,000 richer. And Thomas Lewandowski has a cool grand heading his way. We're going to see if we can't catch up with some race winners, catch up with some drivers. We'll catch up once again with Nick Wren from NASCAR, with Tony Gardner, president of iRacing, and we'll see if we can't catch up with a certain driver who is now $10,000 richer. That's all coming at you as part of the post-race festivities. Don't you dare go anywhere. This, my friends, is PSR TV. Welcome back here on PSR TV, and we are joined with a driver who will be the first ever NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Champion. We have got RT Richard Towler with us, and we've also got the president of iRacing with us as well, Tony Gardner. And Tony, I know you've been looking forward to crowning the first ever champion, and he's here.
Yeah, that was. It's been a great season, a great race, and Richard ran a great race, and we're excited to present to Richard the inaugural NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. Congratulations, Richard! You ran a great all season long. You were in the top 5, and you won 4 races, and terrific job.
Thanks, Tony. It's been a great season. I just can't believe it's come to this, the final race, and just between me and Brad, that was a really nerve-wracking race. To get pole, and then to lose lead in the pit stops, and just be hanging on there at the end.
Yeah, Brad was incredible too. I mean, he was just dominant tonight, and congratulations to him too on the win. So. I don't know what is 15 or 18 points separate you two guys over a 37-week season, so that's just amazing. And once again, congratulations to both you guys.
Yeah, I just want to say congrats to Brad, because he's run just as well, even better at some times during the season, and he ran an awesome race today. His car was just probably the best car and driver combination that we've seen all season. So just congrats to Brad for that. Yeah, and also congrats to Tom as well for 3rd place in the championship.
Richard, this is Daryl. We had a question for you. Do you have a passport? And if not, how quickly can you get one? We got some information from Nick Wren with NASCAR that you might be interested in finding out. Do you have a passport?
I don't have a passport at this moment, but there's a passport on the way, which should be arriving within weeks.
Within weeks, that should be quick enough. Nick Wren from NASCAR, he knows he's getting $10,000. He knows he's the inaugural champion, but there is a laundry list of prizes that are heading towards Richard Towler, along with what most race fans would consider to be the weekend of a lifetime.
Yeah, that's right, Richard. Congratulations, man. That was a great run tonight, a great season for you. Great respect between you and the competitors at the top level. You really set a great example tonight. Really proud and pleased to have you as our inaugural champion in the NASCAR-iRacing.com series. We're looking forward to having you in Miami. As Tony and Nim and the guys had mentioned, that $10,000 is coming your way. You'll also be receiving a championship ring that's made by Jostens, the same guys that make the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series rings, the Hall of Fame rings, and all the other National Touring Series rings. And you'll also get to enjoy a great weekend in Homestead, Miami at the race, and spend a little time on South Beach and get a little flavor for what the U.S. is all about. Again, congratulations. Great to have you as our champion.
Just really awesome, Nick. Thanks a lot. That really means a lot to me personally. So all I can say is just thanks to everyone at NASCAR, and just thanks. Well, just basically thanks to everyone that's helped, including iRacing during the season. They've provided a great simulation for us to race. So thanks to them as well, and also just thanks to everyone I've raced this season. It's just been really good at the top. Like, you just can't ask for more between the top 10 and 15 guys out there, Like, I just don't think we've wrecked once up front, so you can't ask, for anything better than that.
Richard, this is Nimcross. You have a bottle of champagne. Are you going to go out on your front porch and spray it around and scream and wake all your neighbors up?
Well, I think I'm going to go take all my clothes off and dance around in the street naked.
Oh, no. Well, congratulations, Richard. We're very proud to have you as our champion, and you did a great job all season. Thank you, thank you very much, and great job on this season.
Thanks, Ned. It really does mean a lot. So thanks a lot.
Richard, this is Daryl again. Did you ever think when you started your sim racing career that at some point you would be winning $10,000 in a NASCAR-sanctioned event and becoming the first ever NASCAR-iRacing.com Series World Champion? I mean, it's got to be just beyond fathomable right now.
Yeah, I just don't believe it yet. I'm sure it'll sink in at some point, but at the moment, I just can't believe it's come to this after so much work during the season and so much work since I've started sim racing, really, to get to this point.
Well, what time is it right there where you're sitting? What time are you looking at on the clock?
5 minutes past 4.
5 minutes past 4. That's in the morning, correct?
Yeah, it is.
Well, it is also party time. Richard Towler, the first ever, the inaugural champion in the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship. And we also have with us Brad Davies, all the way from Florida. Brad, you wouldn't have needed a passport to get to Florida, but something tells me that second place still pretty darn good in this run for the championship. $3,000 heading your way, along with the accolades from NASCAR, and you did everything you could. You just needed a little bit of bad luck for Richard Towler, and I know that the last thing you wanted was for RT to have some bad luck, but would have meant $7,000 for you, right, bud?
Yeah, Rich has been a good friend, so, I wasn't wishing anything bad on him. I'd never do that. I had to go into the race and not really worry about what was happening to him. I had to focus on trying to win the race, and if something happened. And, it didn't happen, which, I'm happy that it didn't, that he deserved to win the championship because he was probably the best driver all season long, and he absolutely deserved it. I went out there, I did what I had to do. I brought home the win, which I'm kind of surprised still that I was able to do that, but, I'll take it. It wound up not being quite enough in the end.
Well, Brad, you had a dominant car on the long run, and it looked like the green flag pit stops were the most important moment for you, and you had almost a perfect green flag pit stop. Did you think that maybe that might have been the spot that maybe Richard might have slipped up a little bit and lost enough positions for you to kind of walk into this championship?
Well, at the time, that was really what I was thinking. I wanted to stay out as long as possible because I seemed to be a little bit faster than him towards the end of the run. So I wanted to stay out a little bit longer than he did, if I could. By forcing him to pit early, I was maybe hoping for a caution or something, maybe get him trapped a lap down. That was really my only chance that I had at that point in the race. That's really what I was hoping for, but obviously that didn't happen, and we had our green flag stops, and everything worked out in his favor, and he brought it home.
Well, can you kind of put this into perspective, kind of categorize it with your past accomplishments and your achievements within the sim racing world? You are one of the most accomplished sim racers ever to sit behind a sim racing wheel. How does this stack up to those achievements?
Well, it's obviously pretty overwhelming. Even though I finished second, like Rich, second place hasn't even sunk in for me yet. But I'm really proud of myself. I'm proud of Rich. I really couldn't have asked for a better season. I gave it my all. I had a really good run the last 5 or 6 or 7 races. I did everything I could, and he was just too strong. And yeah, it's been stressful, but I'm glad to get the season over with.
Well, you mentioned this season is over with. Obviously, top 30 in points, second place in points. I think that's in the top 30. I got to check my my math book and make sure. But you're going to get the invite for next season. You're going to come back and see if you can't finish one spot higher in the points next year.
Yeah, I don't see any reason not to. I hope Rich can make it back. I'd love to see if I can maybe outdo him next season. It's going to be tough, probably even tougher. But I'm up to the challenge, so I hope he can make it back, and I hope everybody else that participated in the season can make it back. And I know we got some guys coming up from the Pro Series that are really, really fast and going to be really competitive. So it's going to add a new mix into the bunch. Should be a lot of fun.
One of the things we've wanted to ask you all season long is it seemed like this first season of championship competition, there was a lot of guys that you knew quite well from your previous racing experience. Did that add an extra little level of comfort racing with guys that you had raced with for years previous through your DMP racing experience and outside of iRacing as well? Did that add to your comfort level for you?
Yeah, it's always nice to be able to race with somebody that you know and trust. You don't have to worry too much about guys making silly mistakes or anything like that. There's going to be a lot of new guys coming in that I haven't raced too much with, but I have raced with some of them in the Pro Series, and most of them seem to have their head on their shoulders, so I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not really worried about too many guys out there, but there's always a few. But for the most part, I'm really looking forward to next season and being able to race with these guys. I feel comfortable with just about anybody out there.
Well, Brad, before we let you go, $3,000 goes a long way, especially in today's economy with the things that have been going on. Obviously, you probably have some plans for those $3,000, and I know you want to give a huge thanks to the people that have supported you thus far in your racing career and continue to support you going forward in your racing career.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to thank... First, I'd like to thank you guys for doing these broadcasts. They get better with every race. I mean, they're really, truly awesome. I watch them every week after the race is over, and you guys continue to improve, and I look forward to next season. Also want to thank iRacing for putting this on for us. They're doing a lot for us for this sport, and they're helping continue growth with our sport. And I also want to thank Dale Jr. And Whiskey River and everybody that gave me support throughout the season. I got a lot of messages from friends in this service that gave me that wished me good luck before the race. I want to thank all of them too, and thank all my friends out there.
There you go. That's Brad Davies. Wins the race here tonight. Comes up just 18 points away from $10,000. A beautiful performance all season long for Brad Davies. Comes up a little bit short of Richard Towler, but they're still good friends, and they're both looking forward to doing it again next year. Nim Cross has caught up with a driver that will take home $1,000 after the 18 race effort. Nim Cross, you've got Thomas Lewandowski.
Down here with Thomas Lewandowski. Thomas, third in the inaugural NASCAR-iRacing.com Series World Championship. It's been a long season. You've done a great job. Tell us about it.
It's just been a real long season. I got to congratulate Rich and Brad. It's been great racing with them. All the guys really this season have raced me really clean. Tried to race them all real clean. I just came up a little short. I never really had the speed that Rich and Brad did, or even Josh Berry. He usually outran me, but I just was trying to stay real consistent, stay out of trouble. Just lots of top 10s. Just figured that was the best way to do it.
Coming into tonight's race, you did have a couple of challengers that could have taken away your third place finish. How worried were you about that coming into this race?
I was pretty concerned because last week I kind of, I brought the last caution. It was my mistake, and I pretty much could have clinched it last week if I just would have had a top 10 at Chicago. But going into tonight, I knew that Josh Berry had, I think, a 52-point drop week. So, during the race, I was really watching him, and he was up to 4th, I think, and I was back in 10th, and I was getting a little worried. Then after green flag pit stops, I saw that I'm not sure what really happened. I'm guessing he had a black flag for speeding on pit road or something, and I saw that he got that. So then I was just pretty much just taking it easy the rest of the way, knowing that the only way that he could beat me was if caution came out or if I beat myself.
Yep, as you said earlier, you might not have had the speed as Brad or as Richard did all season long, but you were right there. You're very consistent, and consistency is what's got you here.
Yeah, I knew going into the season that I probably wasn't going to be the fastest driver. I tried my best. I just knew it was going to be a long season, and if I can just put consistent finishes in, that I'd have a shot at the end. And I did, even though I ended up missing a week back in Martinsville, which kind of hurt me. But it really wasn't too bad because I think after the drop weeks, it would have been like a 14th place finish. It would have got dropped, so I really wouldn't have gained too many more points on them. But, I did what I did, and I got the best I could, and I'm happy with the result.
Well, you were no slouch out there. You were plenty fast, but the Brad and Richard out there were incredible also, but you're no slouch yourself. Who do you want to thank for your season?
I'd just like to thank, iRacing for doing this for us, putting up the money. It's a lot of money they put up for us to go out there and win. I'd like to thank all my friends who helped me out through the season. Rich, Brad, John, Dumpy, Chris Main. That's about it. Oh, Josh Parker too.
All right, Thomas. Well, congratulations on your season, and we'll send it back up to Daryl.
Thank you very much. We've caught up with our in-race reporter throughout the night, Ray Alfala. Ray, you did everything you could. It looked like that car just started to loosen up a little bit on you in the long run, didn't it?
Yeah, I was too loose to start off. Then I tightened it up, and the car just then got tight, and then still got loose after a few laps. So I felt like I finished pretty much where I was supposed to run. I was up there like in second, but that was because of good pit stops and aero and stuff. But with that long run at the end, I think I pretty much fell back to where I would have run. So it's pretty happy with it.
Overall, looking back at your season, what stands out? What are you going to take with you as your emotional memento, your souvenir, so to speak, from the first ever series?
Just minimize mistakes, I made way too many mistakes and way too many bad finishes, where I had a car that could got in the top 5 or something, and then I finished like 30th with it. So that's pretty much the only thing that really stood out.
Let's get those shout-outs, bud. It's time to thank those that made it all possible for you, Ray, and I know there's a big list.
Yeah, well, it's pretty huge, so I'll just summarize it. Obviously, good job to Brad tonight. He did all he had to do, led the most laps and won. But also, great job to Rich on the first championship. Well deserved to those guys, and Tom for finishing third in points also. And just want to thank iLeagueRace.com, Sean Purdy, my sponsor, and JDR Graphics for painting the car. And overall, just obviously thanks to you guys for the broadcast. And thanks to the drivers, because at the start of the season, we had quite a lot of yellows, and everybody just took a while to get used to each other. And then, tonight here we ended the race with a nice, boring green flag run, which was the best way to end it, really. I'm glad a yellow didn't come out with like 10 to go, and mayhem didn't happen at the end. So just thank you for everybody that was a part of the series this season, and looking forward to next season.
There you go. That's Ray Alfala. Drove the 5-car tonight, was our in-race reporter, and we're looking forward to having Ray back for next season here in the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship when we go back at it in 2011. Nim Cross, you have caught up with a guy that had a shot, an outside shot albeit, but a shot at $1,000 tonight. You've tracked down John Gorlinski.
John Gorlinski, up and down season all year. A lot of good runs, a lot of fast runs. Unfortunately, a couple bent-up race cars, but overall a pretty good season. How do you see it?
That sums it up pretty well. I started off the season pretty well, and as it wore on, I'd make a mistake, and then the next week I try to make up for it and just get myself in a bigger hole, and that snowballed through the end of the season, and I bricked pretty hard by the end of tonight. So it was a good season, though. It was a lot of fun.
Well, a lot learned from this season, and now you got that first season under your belt. A solid finish in the standings will allow you to come back for next season. How do you prepare for next season, and what are you looking forward to? Are you already thinking about next season?
I'm thinking about it a little bit, I guess. I kind of plan on taking a long time off from running this for a little bit, because I think it was 25-week season. Or 18, I don't even know. You get burned out after a while, and it would just be nice to take a break and come back next season with new cars and new tire model, hopefully, maybe, and just get after it then.
All right, John, anybody you want to thank for your first season?
Everybody at the drill aisle, iRacing, of course, for putting this whole show on. I mean, it was definitely something very cool to be a part of. All the drivers, too. The racing was great all season, and, I look forward to it next year.
All right, John, well, thank you very much, and congratulations on your fine run this season. Back up to Darrell.
Thank you very much. I've tracked down one of our favorite drivers to talk to, Brian Schoenberg. And Brian, you put on a great show out there, man. You did everything you could. You tried and tried and tried, and it's always fun to watch you. You come home 16th tonight, finish just outside the top 10 in points with an 11th place points standing. Not bad overall, man.
Hey guys, yeah, overall not too bad, but here's the thing that gets me, Darrell. Coming into the race, I was battling Brian Blackford, and I would need something bad to happen to him to be able to get him for 10th in points, and something did. We played everything right, we played our cards right, we led a lap, had 9th place in the race locked up, and round 5 to go there, I was just entering 3 in the right front, hooked the safer barrier, and the car wouldn't turn from there and finished 16th, so I believe we missed 10th in points by 3 points, but you know the old saying, it's not just one race that makes you who you are, it's all of them put together, so we were 11th for a reason. So the way I look at it, we would have finished with 6 top 10s in the last 7 races, so that's not a bad way to look at it. The overall outlook is good for the future, but dang, man, right there, that's hard to live with all off-season.
All off-season, you're looking at right around 4 months or so to kind of let that all sink in. Obviously, we've talked about the off-season. Are you coming back for a shot at the second championship? The first one's done. Second one's on the horizon. You coming back for a crack at that one?
Oh, I'll definitely be back. This year was really big. We obviously didn't do what we wanted to, but we had fast cars every week, and we were up front most of the races. Even on our worst days, we could have finished in the top 10 every race. So, that's good. I was able to prove to some people that I'm able to drive a race car, and, it's sad to end like this, but hey, it's a great time all year, and just gotta thank JDR Graphics, JD Laird, and teammates Ray Alfal and Jesse Atchison. And last thing I want to say too is my dad's gonna start a battle with prostate cancer here in a few days, so it's gonna be an interesting off season. I just hope everything works out. And God bless you guys. You guys were great, and be back next year for sure, better than ever.
As usual, better than ever. I don't know how about that, buddy. You're pretty darn good to begin with. Our thoughts and our prayers are with your dad as well as he heads on to this journey and starts his battle. We will be thinking about you and your dad all off season long. And please let us know and keep in contact. Let us know how that battle is going. Nim Cross, you have caught up with a guy that's been a mainstay around PSR TV for quite some time, and part of that reason is, well, it's all over his race car. You've caught up with John Prather.
Yeah, John Prather is a mainstay in sim racing, at iRacing, and with PSR TV. John, inaugural season here with the NASCAR-iRacing.com Series World Championship. How do you see it playing out, and how do you look at your season?
I thought my season was pretty good. This whole thing is kind of the culmination of a dream come true for a lot of us that have been in sim racing for a while, knowing that, having the idea of getting everybody together and having an objective system where everybody's, all the best are racing together, and you don't have to search around and find the good leagues and everything. You can just go somewhere, and if you're good enough, you'll get there and you can compete at the top. And to see that actually happen this season with iRacing is, it's great. It's one of the biggest things I was looking forward to with iRacing, and we just finished the season of it, and it's pretty awesome. Personally, I'm pretty happy with how I did. I wasn't really too competitive. I wasn't really able to run for wins or top 10s consistently, but I had an absolute blast out there, running mid-pack or whatever and fighting for every spot I could with all the guys out there. So I had an absolute blast.
Yeah, that's what sometimes people don't realize. It's just as fun, and if not as hard, to fight back in the middle of the pack as it is up front. You do a lot of work around, with us. We thank you for that here at PSR TV. Plus, you did, did some radio shows and things like that. Plan on doing anything else going forward with that kind of stuff?
I don't really have any plans going right now. I'm actually, I got a couple things I'm thinking about, but there's nothing really concrete right now. It's been nice to having PSR TV on the cars, both road and oval. I've been Ian's a good guy, and I've been supportive of what he's tried to do with the system, and I think you guys did a great job all season. It's been really nice to have some quality broadcasts here, so it's nice to be part of that.
Well, John, we appreciate your participation. Congratulate you on a great inaugural season. Anybody you want to thank before we go?
Just got to thank my friends, Rich helped me out with setups most of the season. He's a good friend of mine. It's really great to see him pull this off. It's great to see Brad, get second. I think they're both really good guys and really good drivers, and it's great to see them get rewarded like this for it. It's amazing that we can have these kind of opportunities in sim racing, and I hope everybody appreciates how awesome that is. So, that's about it.
All right, John. Well, congratulations, and we'll send it on over to Daryl.
Thank you very much. We've tracked down a guy that maybe needed some bigger bumpers and some casters on the side of his car. Driver of the, we'll double check, number 4, I do believe tonight. It is the number 4 tonight. Tyler Hudson. Tyler, you finished 8th in the race, 18th overall in the points. First question, obviously, on everybody's mind is what's the deal with you and Parker? You guys just aren't seeming to get along right now.
Yeah. First of all, congrats to Richard on the championship and Brad for the win. And I don't really know what to say. It wasn't intentional between him and I on my part. He's gotten into me a few times this season in this series and other series throughout iRacing, and I've never put the bumper to him. I've never ran him dirty. I've always shown him a lot of respect and have never gotten it in return. So, it's just one of those deals where, I didn't wreck him on purpose, but I didn't go out of my way to not wreck him. He kind of slipped up. He was getting real loose, and so we just came together. I just ran him like he ran me. So that's that. We talked about it after the race, and good. It's good that we talked about it because we have a good understanding here going forward, and hopefully we'll be all right.
So the issue now is completely over. There's no longer any issue between Tyler Hudson and Josh Parker. What happened, and it's over and done with, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the ball, I told him, I said the ball was in his court. I've always ran him with respect, and he continued to run me kind of dirty. So, it was really in his hand there, and he says we're even now. So, hey, I guess we are.
All right, Tyler, before we let you go, I know you've got a lot of people that have stood behind you throughout your sim racing career, and this is your opportunity to thank those, the ones that have stood behind you this year and previous seasons as well throughout your career. It's shout-out time, and you get to do it here on PSR TV on the biggest night of the season.
Yeah, that's, man, I don't even know where to start. So many people have helped me out this entire season. From Daytona till now, I've jumped around a couple teams, and a couple teams have fallen apart. But, the guys I'm working with now are great. Ever since I came over here, we've ran in the top 5 pretty much every race the last few races with a couple issues. But, just everybody that's helped me this entire season. It's been a long season. It's been a great season. It's been a lot of fun. Of course, I got to thank my lovely wife. She supports me every night, watches the broadcast, and gets people around here to watch. She's a good supporter, and got to thank her and all you guys for the great broadcast. I can't wait till next season. It's going to be great.
There you go. That's Tyler Hudson. Does a great job. And Nim Cross has tracked down Chris Main.
Down here with Chris Main. Very good run in your first championship season. What was your season like?
It was pretty bad from the get-go. Just took a while to know who you're racing against and get used to how everybody races, and started slow in the beginning of the season, but towards the end of it I really feel like I got going and turned a corner, and hopefully bring some momentum into the next season with these same guys. So it was fun.
Yeah, it looks like everybody in the season matured over the season and got to know each other a little bit. So learning all that you did this season, what are you taking forward in the next season, and how will you improve on your finish this season?
Probably by learning to test a little bit more than what I have been in the past. These last few races I've done a lot more and gotten a lot more help from people like Brad and Rich and Tom and Gorlinski. So if I just keep on doing that and keep on doing what I'm doing, I should get even better. But to compete in this series, you gotta stay on top of it. Just like what Brad had to do tonight, he had to go out and have a dominant car and win the race. But unfortunately, it didn't pay off too great for him because he still got second. But that's the kind of stuff you have to do to compete.
Who would you like to thank?
Basically, all the top 3 guys, Brad, Rich, and Tom, and Gorlinski. They've all helped me throughout the season on setups, and basically everybody in this series I'd like to thank, because they're all pretty much open to helping you out when you need it. So I'd like to just thank everybody for putting on a great season towards the end of it.
That's Chris Main, and we'll send it back up to Daryl.
Thank you very much, Nim. And as we put a cap on this season, I want to bring in Tony Gardner again. Tony, these are the drivers that for the past 18 races have represented the oval side of iRacing. I mean, these are the guys that in a lot of people's eyes are the face of iRacing, and to listen to these guys talk and the class that they exude, it's got to make you feel good. It's got to fill you with pride.
Well, absolutely, Daryl. It's good to hear him talk, and I enjoy listening to him. And they definitely are. This is the crown jewel of iRacing, this series. So it's a lot of respect, and for these guys, they have a lot of class. And there's over 20,000 members, and it boiled down to one guy, and we're 50 guys down to one guy. So it's pretty impressive, and I'd like to thank all of the members who support iRacing, and they make this possible. They make a lot of the drivers thank iRacing, but it's the 20,000 members and that make this all possible. And you guys did a great job on the broadcast, and NASCAR brought so much attention to this and really worked with us with their expertise in running a series. So I want to thank them as well, and for all the fans out there watching. So it's been a tremendous season, and we're really, really excited for next year.
Well, the excitement for next year has already started, and I know that Nick Rend already has a bunch of things that he wants to implement. And Nick, the season is finally over here within the iRacing world. It's time to start maybe perhaps focusing on next year, focusing on the things that you have said that you wanted to do to kind of help get it up another level, as if being a level at that isn't good enough, but that's been one of NASCAR's hallmarks. The top isn't quite high enough. We want to continue to make it better because the best can always get better. But after a full season, Nick, it's got to feel nice to finally know who you're going to be hanging out with coming up in Miami not too many weeks away.
Yeah, no, it's definitely exciting. I mean, in our staff, we have staff meetings every Monday morning, and this is a hot topic and has been an even hotter topic as of late. The entire office and the NASCAR community is engaged in this. We're excited to see this series end the way that it did. Brad ran an awesome race. I mean, the laps that he was turning were fantastic, and Richard was sort of the Jimmy Johnson of the race. He ran a little bit more methodical race, knew what he needed to do, and Thomas gave it his all and had a great finish in third place. And it feels great to be through this first season, to have learned a bunch from all the competitors, to learn a bunch from iRacing, and gathered a bunch of feedback internally at NASCAR. And yeah, we will continue to work hard to make this series great, so we can continue to hear feedback from positive feedback on the iRacing side and the NASCAR side from all these guys, and keep this series a real viable series of NASCAR. Keep people engaged and get a new roster of drivers in here and increase the level of competition even more. So it's awesome, but now we got two off seasons. We got the iRacing.com series off season, and we got the Sprint Cup series and the other national touring season off season. So a lot more off seasons, and people typically think that you rest during those, and like some of these guys said, you'll rest maybe a little bit, but you're going to spend a lot of time preparing for the next one. So that's what we'll do.
And a great way to get those off-season blahs, hook up the wheel, come on out racing, and have some fun. And you're guaranteed to have a great time getting involved in iRacing. iRacing.com, the website to do that. Right now is special. Buy 1 month, you're going to get 2 months free. It's not buy one, get one free. No, that wasn't good enough. They're going to have you buy one. They're going to give you 2 months free. And Nick, after seeing this season go down, you spoke about the goal for Mr. France so many years ago, and I've got to wonder, do you think Mr. France would be proud seeing what we've seen over the course of this 18 race season?
Absolutely. I mean, one of his things was competition in the product, and the product is paramount in racing. The product's right, everything else will happen. And you can see point blank that this series it's a great reflection of the racers. It's a great reflection of NASCAR, the product that he built. And we'll see where we can take it. We're high up there now with this, and if we get it even an inch better, we're pretty high up there. So I think absolutely he'd be proud.
That's Nick Rend, one of the senior executives in the licensing department with NASCAR, and Nick gets to kind of relax for quite some time, but Tony Gardner, you have to come back in just a couple weeks and do this thing all over again for the road racing side of things. You've got another world championship to hand out. Pretty much positive it's going to Gregor Hutu, though, aren't we?
Yeah, that's a foregone conclusion. So it's not as exciting from a competition perspective as this series, but just a dominant performance by him. But anyway, yeah, we get to do this again. A week from Saturday, I guess, and give out another $16,000.
A lot of fun still to come, and coming up here on the PSR TV calendar, the Intel GP Masters at noon this coming Saturday. That's noon Eastern time. These times are Eastern. And then the iRacing Drivers World Championship Road Racing Final at 6 p.m. Eastern time the following Saturday. You're not going to want to miss either of those events. And I know that the road course guys will be ready to rock, and they do not want to let Gregor Hutu win another race and finish off the season, finishing behind the guy that they have been behind all season long. It's guaranteed to be fun. You got to get involved in this whole deal, whether you're watching, whether you're sponsoring, or whether you're doing what the drivers were doing tonight and racing as a part of the series. This is the place to be. And Nimcross, it's our final broadcast, you and me together, and it's almost heartbreaking because I know that 2 Tuesdays from now, you and I won't be able to share a broadcast booth, and that kind of, well, it's upsetting to me, Nim. I'm going to miss you, buddy.
I'm going to miss you too, Daryl, and I look forward to doing this again with you next season. It's been a blast this season. I've learned a lot. We worked together well, and PSR TV has been a great family of people to work with here. Obviously, with my jobs at iRacing, I'm looking forward to working hard on this off season to improve this series going forward, and we'll work hard to improve the broadcasts going forward for next season also.
What an incredible season it has been, and it's been my honor and my privilege to be a part of this. And we have to send out a huge thank you to Florian Goddard for the amazing work that he's done and all the help that he's provided to us. Again, happy birthday to Brian Blackford, celebrating a birthday here tonight. And for all of us and from all of us, on behalf of Ian Bushing, on behalf of Chuck Johnson, on behalf of Nimcross and PJ Lossy and Shannon Whitmore, and of course for Nick Wren from NASCAR and Tony Gardner, president of iRacing, Matt Racing Kid Thomas sitting in and helping out and being very instrumental in the broadcast here tonight. I'm Daryl Morley, thanking you so much for tuning in and reminding you, keep it shiny side up and rubber side down, and always, always, always keep that hammer down. We'll see you next time, hopefully soon, right here on PSR TV.